it starts going like crazy. 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:15. It starts actually going down a little bit on 8. But from 7 to 8 is our killer hour, if we're typical.
And now, Fagan and Biegel.
Well, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, boy.
Everywhere we go.
Rough day.
Ho, ho, ho. I have a major story to report tonight, Glenn, this morning.
Yeah.
But I actually have another breaking news story to report.
Other than Bonnie is trying to assault the radio.
No, I don't know what she's doing over
Right
there.
over there.
Hey, I'm just lucky to be here.
What is that, potato chips and dip over
No,
there?
it's apples.
Apples? Okay.
All right.
So
Apples and caramel.
I'm safe. Oh, Dan Fagan here. Glen Biegel over there. Bonnie Cameron over there.
Dan's back.
I'm back. Good to be back. Thanks for filling in, both of you. You did an excellent job. I really appreciate that. Brian, thank you for all you do.
Brian was a star. We got to be honest.
So it's the first snowfall in Anchorage here. Obviously, you want to make sure that you are responsible in the way that you maneuver your vehicle, and you don't want to do anything that would harm yourself nor other drivers. Would you agree with that, Glenn?
Do I agree that that's the way that you should drive, or that's the way that most people will not
That's
drive?
the way you should drive if
Okay.
you're a responsible citizen.
Yeah.
Bonnie, would you dispute any of that?
No, except when your boss calls you when you're right next
Excuse
to
me.
a school bus.
I'm still in the middle of my
Yes.
my story here.
That was a little scary.
So-
Breaking a little news here.
I'm driving along very carefully, obviously both hands on my wheel. I have my seat pushed as far up to the front of the steering wheel as I can, like a 70-year-old would. I'm just very slowly. I'm going about 20 miles an hour in Minnesota
That
because
was
it's
you.
snowing,
Ugh.
and I'm very careful. I'm not looking to the left. I'm looking to the right. I'm looking straight ahead, and all of a sudden I get this text. I'm going, oh my goodness! I'm going to my place of employment. I want to be very careful in negotiating the roadway, but I must look at this text. So I risk my life and the life of those around me to view this text. And it's from, well, I'll tell you, I'll just read it to you. I'm just going to go ahead and read the daggum thing.
Uh-huh.
As I get
Here,
my-
Dan.
It says here, this is at 5:52 a.m. That's Alaska Standard Time.
That's pretty close to go time here.
I'm going to be a few minutes late. I'm only just now getting on Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So
Love Bonnie.
I believe that is a confession. In any court of law, and I'm no attorney. Brian, do you have any kind of law experience, any practice with being a lawyer, or you ever take any law classes in college?
I've watched a lot of Law and Order.
Okay, all right. Well, so
Brian,
that'll
you
count.
are a Sorrento owner.
That's
you
right.
know that we have voice text.
Yeah, I was going about 70 all the way here, too.
Oh my goodness.
So Brian,
Yeah.
one
In a
one
school
breaking
zone?
news story at a time, please.
Oh, okay.
If someone says I'm going to be a few minutes late, I'm only now just getting on Minnesota, is that not a confession that she is actually texting while driving?
Yes.
Okay.
Even if it is voice, it is still texting
still
while
texting.
driving.
Well, Glenn, do you have a thought on this? And I know you're a fair-minded person, but I don't really.
It was going fine till you called me.
You might have pulled
Well,
over.
I had to call her and tell her stop.
Be careful.
texting.
Okay, well, I'm right next to the school bus.
You called her
Yeah,
to tell her to stop
I had
texting,
to
so you
pick up
wanted her
my
on
phone.
the phone.
And dial her up and say, stop texting me. I'm trying to drive in the snowstorm.
Okay, it would have been
Because
better if you had just texted her and told her to stop texting.
I can't text and drive. I'm not gonna. It's much safer because I have a little button here and I hit boom and I go call Bonnie
Yeah.
and then there she is. So it's like literally changing the channel on the radio.
Well, you could also say, text Bonnie,
I got
stop
one on my
texting
steering
me.
wheel.
I'm not gonna dictate on the
You
highways.
could, though. You could. Possible.
Dan, you're just you're the person who's the best driver in the world, right?
I appreciate you acknowledging
Mm-hmm.
because I could not take issue with that. I believe that is true.
Dan's cornered the market on good driving.
Well,
He's got a fine driving machine.
I'm
you know.
an excellent driver. I'm not gonna lie. I am an excellent driver. Well, all right. I just wanted to clear that up. So that's the first story of the day.
Do you know where I live? I live near
I
Flat
have no idea.
Top.
No.
It's scary.
Well, then you shouldn't be texting.
It's a lot scarier when you are texting.
And all those kids saw you too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Well, look at that lady texting.
Yeah, I thought I was going to lose control
Next
of my
time you wanna-
vehicle.
Next time you want to text in a snowstorm, just take a cab, and you can sit back in the back of the cab and
Call Uber.
text-
Uber.
call Uber.
I signed up
go.
for Uber.
You get arrested at the same time you
This
get a
is
ride.
One of those mornings I was cursing Alaska.
Wow.
I hate you.
Mm.
Curse you, Alaska.
Mhm.
I was so happy when I got up and saw all the snow.
It was pretty.
Not
It's
me.
like Christmas.
Yeah. Well, if I had a garage, that'd be nice, but
Wait, you live on the hillside? You don't have a garage?
well, I don't use it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That's for storing things.
Yes.
Not cars. It's for storing your junk.
It is my parents' garage.
Oh.
They get
I understand.
first use of it.
I got you. Well, I really do have a story today that I want to bring to you. And, you know, one of the problems with this show is, you know, we have the fewest people listening right now. So I'm going to have to repeat
Of the day.
later in
But
the
just
show.
as many
Of
people are
the day.
viewing because there's a lot of people watching already.
Oh, that's very good. Good to hear. But this is, I think, a very important story. And yeah, I think it's very relevant. It's somewhat risky for me to report it,
Why?
because the person that it involves is a very powerful person who has great powers for retribution and retaliation if they so decide.
Is this about me?
Wow, this sounds great.
Well, you know, it's something that I feel needs to be reported, and I think the evidence that I will present to you is pretty clear that there's something amiss. There's something amiss in the political landscape involving the governor's race, and this race is going to be so close. Frankly, I went back and forth last week. You know, oh well, that's it. You know, Parnell's done. It's just no way. There's the Vince Beltrami ad that they're running now. It's paid for by the AFL-CIO, where Governor Parnell intentionally stalled an investigation into the National Guard while women were sexually assaulted right under his nose. I mean, you know, this whole thing like he's pro-sexual assault. You know, Beltrami, he's got no, he'll accuse you of anything. You know, and it was really a powerful ad. And when I heard it, I said, okay, well that's it. It's over. Good night. Good night.
Yeah, good night,
Yeah,
folks.
it's been nice.
It's Bill Walker's gonna go ahead and build this $20 billion pipeline or $50 billion pipeline, and all his union buddies will get the jobs, and nobody's gonna want the gas. I mean, it's a concerning thing. But I'm gonna present to you something today that you have not heard anywhere, and I will be writing it up today for danfagan.us. And I think it's a very important thing. I think it's a very important thing for voters to understand, and we'll do that after. We'll take a break first, but I don't want to present it with just like a minute left in the segment. Anything else I should know about anything else go on last week that was Ursha? Look at Bonnie. She got that poker look again. What went on last week? What happened?
That was fine. I called it Heck Week.
What happened last week?
Nothing. It
You
was.
gave me that look like, you better not tell Dan about this.
I felt freed.
Felt free from what?
My muzzle was off. I could say whatever I wanted.
You can't say what you want when I'm here. Is that what?
I will now. Doggone it.
I don't know what's going on here. I'm totally confused. This is accusing me of censorship.
It was fun. It was fun. We did
It
good.
was a good week. We made it through, and that's really all you can do. We know in a crisis situation, and you got to take the reins, you got to shoulder that load, and you
Glenn
get
was
through it, and you're
great.
like, oh.
He always is. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. A story you have not heard yet, but is very important. Coming up next, 6:14.
You're on with Fagan and Beagle in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
October is National Pizza Month. Just hearing the word pizza brings a smile to almost everyone's face. And Sicily's Pizza wants to make you smile 5 times as big with their National Pizza Month special. Get as many as 5 medium 2-topping pizzas for only $9.99 each. Whatever style you like. For fast delivery, call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's National Pizza Month special. 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Make your next corporate or social event spectacular with Logistics LLC. Team Logistics is passionate about their work and welcomes the opportunity to provide you in-depth expertise in creating and transforming your vision into reality. Make Logistics LLC your first call when needing assistance with planning your next event. From gala dinners, holiday parties, company picnics, team building, fundraisers, weddings, and more. Logistics LLC will design, plan, and create an event that provides impact and inspiration that will work within your budget. Team Logistics has the innovative ability to create seamless events that allow our clients to dream big and deliver an amazing event that is sure to wow you. Think Logistics, whatever the reason, and watch them build an environment of magic and wonder for your special occasions. Get a quote and more information online at logisticsllc.com or give them a call at 276-6060.
You know what I didn't learn in law school? How much time is spent on documents, preparing them, revising them, and scanning and routing them, and if all goes well, having my clients sign them.
With intelligent printers and MFPs, customized apps and services, Kyocera Document Solutions helps you capture, distribute, and manage the many documents that matter.
Legal Documents 101. Now that ought to be a course.
Company is important.
Royal Business Systems has been a leading provider of high-quality business technology and services since 1990. Royal Business Systems provides HP, Okidata, and Kyocera printers and MFPs, and support recognized throughout the industry as best in class. Come to Royal Business Systems for the total document solution you need to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Don't call 1-800-WHO-CARES. Call Royal Business Systems at 563-4118. That's 563-4118. Or visit us at akcopy.net.
Fun, treats, activities, and more at Trick or Treat Street in downtown Anchorage on Saturday, October 25th from noon to 4 p.m. Anchorage Downtown Partnership is hosting a free event where kids of all ages are invited to come downtown to trick or treat for candy at participating merchants in a fun and safe environment along 4th and 5th Avenue from C to L Street. Fun and spectacular activities from years past are back this year, including the Skinny Raven Frightening 4K Run and Costume Contest, Haunted Visit Anchorage Log Cabin, Cookie Decorating at the Hotel Captain Cook, Anchorage Fire Department Haunted Fire Truck, Face Painting, Balloon Giveaways, and so much more. A map for participating businesses and locations for fun-filled activities can be found in the Anchorage Press. Visit downtownanchorage.org for more information, to see more activities of the day, and learn about free parking for the event. Have a safe and fun Halloween at Trick or Treat Street, brought to you by Anchorage Downtown Partnership, Odom Corporation, Dooley's Tuxedo and Costume, Skinny Raven Sports, Visit Anchorage, Easy Park, Hotel Captain Cook, Anchorage Press, Halloween Express, and Alaska Integrated Media.
Fagan and Beagle, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
All right, 6:19. That's the time here on KOAN, KVNT. Dan Fagan here, Glen Biegel right over there. Got his lumberjack shirt on. Bonnie, it's cold. Bonnie's, how would you describe that?
I'm struggling
Glenn,
here.
I don't know how to.
It's
I'm all
like
flower
summer.
power
Yeah,
today.
she's flower power. She's
Flower.
60s. She's living in the 60s.
Even though I wasn't born then.
And Brian is wearing his, what do you got there, Brian? I can't see. It's too dark in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why don't you describe your outfit for the folks who are
Well, it's just a black shirt.
black shirt?
Clothes.
Yeah.
You know, they used to, back in the old days when everything was on radio, you know, the announcers would come on and they'd say the Green Bay Packers wearing their green jerseys and yellow pants, and they describe the uniforms, but now everybody just
Now you
watches.
can see it.
They just watch on YouTube.
Well, this
That's
is
right, like us.
this is a story that's very important, and people need to understand what's going on. I think this governor's race is going to really be, it's going to be very tight. Frankly, I doubt Governor Parnell will be elected. That's my suspicion. I hope I'm wrong. I don't know how you feel about it, Glenn.
Well, I'd be interested in what you think would swing it towards. I think he's got an uphill battle.
Yeah.
What would sell? I do think the polls are going to move as people go into the booth.
Yeah.
And people who've never voted with Mark Begich. This is the Mark Begich Vince Beltrami NEA ticket.
Yeah.
That they will start thinking, well, okay, wait a minute. They keep telling me they're going to cut the budget. Are they really going to do that? I probably ought to ask. So I think it'll move a bit as people go into the booth. Yeah. But I think it's an uphill battle. I do.
Well, there's a couple things that we know that I can report to you before I tell you what I'm about to reveal. One, that there are some real big problems with the National Guard, Alaska National Guard. That is without dispute. It's been documented. The second thing that we know without dispute is that this is not something new to the Parnell administration. Amanda Coyne had something in her blog late last night. Problems in the National Guard predated Parnell. She talked about how the Governor Knowles knew about it, and there were situations there. So, point number one, yeah, there's something wrong. Point number two, it didn't start with Parnell. Point number three, Lisa Murkowski and Mark Begich in 2012 also conducted investigations. And remember, the Alaska National Guard, it is a hybrid of state and federal. So to say that Murkowski and Begich should not be held accountable equally with the governor, I think is not accurate. I think they both, all three of them, and Young too, and I would throw Young in. He was also made aware of these situations. Now, these are three facts that you have not seen reported in the Anchorage Daily News or the Alaska Dispatch News. But what you have seen, Glenn and Bonnie, is, and as a guy who's been a journalist my entire life, an absolute onslaught of stories on a story that really is not a story as it should be reported. I'm telling you, I've never seen a newspaper. Every single day of the week, they have 1 to 2 news stories and one column about the Alaska National Guard. This is for the last 2-3 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every single day. You would have thought Sean Parnell went out and committed a mass murder. This is such a blatant attempt by a news organization to prop up a story.
To influence an election.
I can hear the morning meetings over there now with Hopfinger and Rogoff and these guys. How can we keep this National Guard story alive? What more can we do? Now, here's the side of the story you have not yet heard. Back on August 2nd, Alice Rogoff, the publisher of the Alaska Dispatch News, wrote a column, A House Divided. Rancor helps Alaska's problem defeat Alaskans. And I'll just read you a couple of lines. It has been many years since statehood, and our state is not quite so young. But at the end of the day, Alaskans are still in this together. And I hope we'll never outgrow the tenacity it takes to resolve our disagreements with respect, to keep building this place with that we all treasure. And she goes on and talks about unity. Basically it's a unity column. We must unite as Alaskans.
That sounds like one of the groups running for governor.
Now here's what you need to know. I have confirmed from 2 different sources that Alice Rogoff was in the meetings, at least one of them, in person, that was designed to put together the unity ticket. It's not just that she was in favor of it, but she was there in person in at least one of the meetings. So
she's on the ticket, too.
Well,
she's a part of this.
Here's what we know. She likes the unity ticket. She was in there trying to make it happen. And now her newspaper is literally running story after story after story after story to make it look like Governor Sean Parnell did not do enough on the National Guard scandal, and he's pro-sexual assault.
And it's not just about the National Guard either. It's everything. Medicaid. I mean, they are really trying to trash him. She should be gone.
Big evidence on focus on the Medicaid expansion, and how many fiscal disasters about to happen stories have we seen on the Alaska Dispatch News? Listen, I'm old. I never thought I'd see anything worse than what Tony Hopfinger has done to Joe Miller. They've outdone themselves.
Replaying the old playbook.
Even worse.
Wow.
And they thought, if we get away with that, we'll get away with this.
So Rogoff, so the meetings are going on because I've heard about Begich. Tom Begich was in it, and he's the agent of Mark Begich. And then
Lotsfeld was in him. Lotsfeld's an agent of Begich.
And so you've got union.
Hollis French was in him.
Right. You got the union-backed candidates.
Vince Beltrami was in
and
on
we still don't know what the Democrats were offered, by the way. And I've heard they were offered something.
Well,
I
of course
really want to know.
We're never going to know that.
Well, we are going to know after the fact.
But what we will know, that's true. We'll know when Hollis French is DNR commissioner or whatever.
Oh
but the thing about it is, I'm telling you, I have confirmed, I have verified that Alice Rogoff was present in person at least one of the meetings. She may have been in more, but I can guarantee you, I can promise you, she was at least one of them. And these are meetings designed to create the Unity ticket. She writes a column about Unity on August 2nd, and her newspaper has gone after Parnell with everything they got.
Well, I guess I'm saddened by it. It doesn't surprise me, but are there any restrictions for her about what she can and can't do? Because she can decide when she's going to print her own column, which is basically using, it's a contribution in kind if you're backing a ticket in some ways. Is that right or not?
No. I mean, the old saying, freedom of the press belongs to those who have a printing press. I mean, that was an older saying because we don't have printing presses anymore. But I mean, I guess the newspaper does. But no, they could. The only thing that keeps her accountable is her credibility.
Mm-hmm.
The
unbiased is out.
Right.
She is not any. She is biased. We know it.
But
people
got
should cancel their
and her paper's got
subscriptions. Really, I mean, over this.
After they went after Joe Miller with such fervency, and then they still survived.
Mm-hmm. They're going to give it a shot again.
They've got no fear now. They're just, it's open season. Mm-hmm. Who don't we like next?
There's no pretense anymore.
No.
Let's just not even pretend.
Yeah.
Well, look. I'm glad it's come out. I think it's very important for people to know. Do you think she'll address it?
I'm going to send her an email today. See if she'll contact me and talk to me about it.
Yeah.
And I hate to make her. I'm sure she's not going to be very happy with me.
Yeah. Well, this is a little dangerous because it's like two sort of news organizations. A radio program and a news organization.
Yeah.
But she should be honest with us. And she should own it.
This is why it's so important for those of us who have the privilege of being involved in the media to never get involved with candidates. It just because it gets out. Oh well, Fagan was in on the planning meetings with so and so, and now he's against his opponent. We know what that's all about. That's why it's so crucial. And it's a responsibility. These microphones are privileges. And we have to earn the credibility of people. But the reason I think this story is so important because the paper is so powerful, and people who read it, and they keep thinking, wow, this National Guard scandal is so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. Yeah, but what you need to know is the people who are producing these stories have a very clear and present bias. And
conflict of interest.
That's apparently. 569-1080, 569-1080. 629, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Stay with us.
From 6 to 9 a.m. Talk of the Valley, KVNT. Online at 1020kvnt.com.
This is Charles White with your Matsu Report. Advocates say same-sex weddings can resume today, and Kent explains why.
The state will comply with a federal judge's order to allow gay marriage, even though it's still seeking a review from the full Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco. Other states in the same position have abandoned appeals, and gay rights supporters have urged Alaska to do the same. Gay couples can marry today if they choose, although some might spend months planning more elaborate weddings, which some say will be a boost to the local economy.
Public comment period on a proposal to resurface Schrock Road in Wasilla concludes today. If the local project is approved, construction will begin next year in the summer of 2015. Finally, Alaska has a new city. Edna Bay, which is in the southeast part of the state, has been approved for incorporation. It has a population of 49 people.
KVNT, the talk of the valley.
Mostly cloudy skies with a bit of rain. For today, high 41. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 28. Sunshine and clouds tomorrow, high 40. Tomorrow night, low 23. Wednesday, sunny skies, high 38. And Thursday, a full day of sun, high 35. If the Valley's talking, you'll hear it here. KVNT Valley News Talk 92.5 FM and 1020 AM.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
October is National Pizza Month. Just hearing the word pizza brings a smile to almost everyone's face. And Sicily's Pizza wants to make you smile 5 times as big with their National Pizza Month special. Get as many as 5 medium 2-topping pizzas for only $9.99 each. Whatever style you like. For fast delivery, call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's National Pizza Month special. 333-8000 or order online at sicilyspizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Mia Costello, Lance Pruitt, and Kathy Giesel haven't served that long in Juneau, but they have got it figured out. Junkets? Kathy Giesel has spent $80,000 on travel. Booyah, taxpayers! Taking care of donors? Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel supported the new LIO with a sole source contract that increases rent 5 times over current rates. Let Pruitt do it to us again. And having it both ways, Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel want to take money from your neighborhood schools and give it to private and religious ones instead. All the while saying they are pro-education. Sweet, huh? Yep, Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel have it figured out. Do you? This notice to voters is required by Alaska law. We certify this ad is not authorized, paid for, or approved by the candidate. This ad paid for by Putting Alaskans First Committee. Top contributors are Alaska AFL-CIO, UA Local 375 PAC, and PSEA PAC.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out movies.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more.
Get tickets, friend stuff.
Lots of information to explore.
Great restaurants.
Now you'll know just where to go. Before and after every show. Check out movies.com. It's showtime.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all burnt split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
Fagan, Biegel.
Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley. KVNT.
6:35 on a snowy morning. KOAN, KVNT. We should let you know that there's a power outage on the hillside. And there's a lot of things that are out there, including our tower on FM and other radio stations in town. 95.1 is off the air right now, so you can, if you're listening to 95.1, you're just hearing static.
Can you get us online, though?
If you're listening on
You can get us
95.1, turn over to 1080.
Well, no, that's great. That's really
Thank you,
smart.
Bonnie. Great suggestion.
Because it sounds like this.
There you go.
Just thought I'd help.
1080 AM, and then, of course, if we're on 95.1, 92.5 out in the valley, which you can also get in Anchorage. And then 1020 AM, which I get in Anchorage too, but that's supposed to be out in the valley. But, yeah, so anyway, or you can go online, danfaganshow.com. Watch us or listen to us there. 569-1080. We're talking about. We're reporting to you this morning that Alice Rogoff was apparently in Alice Rogoff was in. I've had two people tell me that Alice Rogoff was in one of the meetings, and she may have been in more, but I can confirm for you that she was in one of the meetings that was designed to put together the Unity ticket, which I find extremely relevant in light of the fact that her paper prints an average of 1 to 3 stories or columns a day, trying to drum up and prop up the National Guard scandal and point it toward Mr. Parnell. 569-1080 if you'd like to join in and be a part of the show. 569-1080. Brent, you're on.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and the gang.
Morning.
Hey,
Morning.
I don't know if Bonnie and Glenn brought this up last Tuesday. I missed a few of the shows last week. On the Daily Dispatch on, Tuesday 14th, they had an opinion column. They had Dan Fink and Tony Knows.
Tom Fink.
Tony Knows. Excuse me, yeah. I'm not awake yet. Tom Fink and Tony Knows debating the AO 37 labor law.
Yep.
And right next to Tom Fink's head, it says, many muni workers are paid too much. Vote no on AO 37. That's in great big bold type. Obviously, he's a vote yes guy.
Wow.
So I don't think that's a mistake. I never saw a detraction of that or retraction of that.
I think that was probably a mistake, but
They're
I
clever.
don't know.
They're clever that way.
it's confusing.
You had to vote yes. When you turn your ballot over, the thing on the second side is going to be the attempted repeal by the unions of AO 37. They want 5-year contracts in the middle of a recession. Wouldn't you too? I mean, honestly, if you could hire your own boss, wouldn't you want a 5-year contract in the middle of the worst recession since the Great Depression? I mean, wouldn't that be great?
Hey, thanks, Dan. Bye.
Thank you, Brent. It is a confusing issue. I know people are.
Yeah, because before it was no on one, and there was millions of dollars spent on that, and now it's yes on one in order to keep AO 37 so that the unions can have a 5-year contract
What's
in
your
the middle
sense
of a recession.
how that's going to go?
I have no idea. I don't know where people would have gotten their information. The yes on one side is coming in late to the game. I think there's a lot of people who are, well, what is this about? They don't even know what AO 37 is. I guess it has maybe a 15% understanding in the public as to what it is.
What percentage of the populace is hip to the game the unions are playing? How many people know what Vince Beltrami is really all about?
I don't think a lot of people even know his name.
Okay, unions in general. If you were to say to the average guy, let's say we went to the mall and we picked out 15 people, one at a time, and we said, our public employee unions, what are they all about? Are they good for the country? Are they good for the state? Are they good for the city? What's your thought on public employee unions? What do you think the average response would be?
I would think about 100% would say yes, they think they're good.
Oh,
Yes.
not 100%.
Almost,
close.
yeah, almost 100%.
If you left it up to that, if you gave them a little bit of information, you said, well, public employee unions are paid far in excess of what private sector people are paid. Do you think that that's fair for them to hire their boss? Well, then they'd say no.
And you think that's because the media really doesn't document?
I think it's because human beings, Americans, want to think well of other Americans. And when you put people into a group and they don't have anything specific to go on, then they're going to say, do you think gardeners are okay people? Oh, yeah, gardeners are nice. And then you say, do you think gardeners are poisoning all of your food, with whatever it is, an environmentalist might say.
That's funny that you would use that as an example because I absolutely cannot stand gardeners.
I knew that somewhere deep inside.
Why does that not surprise me?
I don't like vegetables.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anybody who eats a vegetable is a communist.
But anyway, my thought on the issue is it's a 70-30 issue. AO 37, if people knew that the unions had gotten $120 million in raises and a 5-year contract in the middle of a recession from a boy that they put in as senator with $150,000 of their own money.
Now here's my question. Does the general populace know government employees? And don't they see that their government employee brethren and sisters live in bigger houses and have nicer cars and go on nicer vacations? Doesn't the average person see that and know that?
I think they're looked up to now, actually, because they used to walk around and people, oh, those poor government workers, they have to work for the government. And now it's, ooh, they're government workers.
Yeah, we got to get me
and
some of that.
And
doesn't the general populace see that the government worker gets off, Lincoln Day, George Washington Day, the president,
Groundhog Day,
the president soon to be named Day. I mean, they don't see that the government worker doesn't work nearly as much. They have bigger houses, bigger cars. They get to retire 10 years earlier than they do. They don't see all this.
No, the government's the big pie in the sky now. It's the thing to be. The government takes charge of everything, takes care of you.
Brian, you're nodding your head.
Oh, it's kind of sick. You get those retirement plans, you get better medical. They're getting the sweet deal.
But that's my point. Everybody knows that now. Everybody wants one of these jobs. So, isn't there going to be a kind of an undercurrent of, well, no, wait a minute now. I've been working my butt off. I'm 53. I don't get to retire and get 100% of my pension. I don't even have a pension. Isn't there going to be an undergirding and undercurrent of that in this nation? You can't have a ruling class like we do with the Public Employees Union and nobody notice.
Yeah, the kicker is we're paying for it.
Especially when your house payment keeps going up because of your property taxes.
That's right. Yeah, and then they get to use the money that they got out of the union contracts that Begich gave them and then come back and elect more people because we have less and then they have more. Look, it's tough.
But you guys are acting like nobody knows this.
I wish more people did know. I think that if it was an even fight and there was $800,000 on one side and $800,000 on the other side, 70-30. If you had as many people hit the streets from conservative, libertarian, Tea Party, independent organizations versus special interest unions, it would be a 70-30 issue. They're not doing a fair fight. They didn't even show up to the debate. They did not show up, Dan. I don't think this has ever happened. Can you remember a time when, because they didn't want to represent their side,
well, they can't win.
Well, they were pompous about it, though.
And they already figured that they got this in the
bag.
bag.
Exactly.
Let's be honest. I mean, with all due respect to little Michael Chambers, little Mikey, this debate doesn't mean a hill of beans. Nobody's going to care. What did you say, 50 people were there?
Yeah, 50
I mean,
people.
this thing is totally irrelevant.
This will be decided by the ignorant voters of Anchorage
It means
who
nothing. Now, if it was a debate
won't come and get
where you had it at the Hilton with, 800 people or the Channel 2 debate or something like that, but they have this little fringe group put together 30, 40, 50 people.
Well, you should have done one then. How come you didn't put something together? We got to get
I
that.
did learn some things, though, from it.
Excellent. Oh, well, we'll have to hear what they are.
Mm-hmm.
644, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, and online at 1020kvnt.com.
In a world where right versus left, zealot versus dogmatic, pipelines versus pipe dreams, one man steps into the gauntlet of rhetoric with flags of truth, justice, and honor. The Tom Anderson Show. Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. on KBNT 92.5 FM and 1020 AM. The Valley's only rush hour news and political forum. Are you ready to rumble? Tune in to the Tom Anderson Show on KBNT.
Every day, the state of Alaska spends around $7 million that it doesn't have. Alaska is in the red, spending $2 billion a year from our savings. Sean Parnell has used up 30% of the state's savings account, and he has no plan to put the state back in the black. Remember Dan Sullivan's $10 million tennis courts? Parnell funded that when the state was broke. Sean Parnell talks about being fiscally conservative, but the state of Alaska has gone from surplus to debtor while he's been governor. That's a fact. And Dan Sullivan is talking about using your PFD to pay for government. Using the permanent fund for government was a beautiful thing. Really. It's time for a change.
Paid for by Alaskans for Walker Malott. This notice to voters is required by Alaska law. We certify that this ad is not authorized, paid for, or approved by the candidate. Top 3 contributors are Alaska AFL-CIO, Barney Gottstein, and Robin Brenna.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
Parking space 105A. To many, it's just 130 square feet of publicly allotted tarmac, unless you own a 2014 Mercedes-Benz CLA. With its muscular, seductive look and distinctive diamond block grille, that parking space is transformed into a stage that showcases to others what groundbreaking style can be. And as you pull away, thanks to the turbocharged inline-4 engine, Parking Space 105A transforms again, this time into a launching pad. See the world differently. See it in a CLA from Mercedes-Benz, whose vehicles retain their value better than any other premium brand, according to ALG. Get the 2014 CLA 254 Matic starting at just $31,900.
MSRP for a 2014 CLA 254 Matic excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. Some equipment described as optional. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
Make your next corporate or social event amazing with Logistics LLC. Logistics services range from event planning and productions, convention and meeting planning, decorations, and centerpiece options. Linen and party enhancement rentals make Logistics your one-stop shop to produce the most amazing event. Team Logistics realize that oftentimes there are needs for assistance, but the budget doesn't allow for an event planner. This is another great reason to allow Team Logistics to assist you. Logistics can create the most stunning centerpieces and amazing themes for any occasion while still working within your budget, which is why we have created the rental component of our business. Just share your ideas and budget, and we can recommend a range of options to meet your expectations. Our goal is to make your event spectacular and your job easier. Get a free quote and see all the rental options online at logisticsllc.com or give them a call at 276-6060.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
Welcome back, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. That's who he is. Hey, let me know, Brian, when KOAN's back on 95.1. If you will you know somehow, or there you go. Our FM signal's down in Anchorage.
Bunch of power outages.
Yeah, a bunch of power outages. Apparently some other stations are down too.
Yeah, Chugach reports that there's several up on the hillside, and that our tower is probably not going to be worked on first.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
They're working on some other residential things first.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
We lost power last night.
Did you at your house?
Yeah.
What time did you lose it?
Let's see. 1:21 was on the clock. That was around 5, so it would have been 3:40 a.m.
Wow. Do you have your clock 2 hours off?
No, but there's 121. So when it restarts, it's going to start back at midnight. So then you subtract the time that it currently is.
No,
that's on the clock, and then that tells you when it went off or when it came back on.
You didn't mention the restarting part.
Oh.
Yeah.
Understood.
Well, no, not always. Electricity isn't all. Brian said it's still out.
It's still out in some places, but we lost power. We talk.
I'm censoring
Dan,
you.
I'm making up for your lost time.
I can't believe Bonnie reveals to me this morning that she was so free last week because I wasn't here. I said, why did you just say what you said? Because you censor me.
No, I said I'm muzzled.
I'm a pushover. I'm a pushover.
Well, she's afraid of making you upset.
Have I ever?
Yes.
Have I ever said
yes?
The only thing that makes me upset is when you talk about hopelessness stuff.
Okay, I talk about that because I feel like it makes people get busy and do something about it.
Yeah.
You think that if we just all sit around and, are hopeful that people will somehow... No, I want to get people mad, and I want to make them mad enough that they get up and do something about it.
Glenn and Bonnie, are either one of you a homosexual?
No.
Brian, are you homosexual?
No.
No, I'm not either, but I was thinking about homosexuality.
Quite a transition, by the way.
Yeah.
Monday.
Why?
Well, anyway.
Monday they said you can get married if you're gay, and then they said you couldn't, and now you can again. And I was thinking about the gay thing, and of course there's been debates in it. We had the lesbian mayor of Houston wants to look at sermons. The couple in, was it Coeur d'Alene, Idaho?
The last bastion of conservatism.
Yeah, we had the Catholic Church. The Pope came out and said, no, we're not going to, there was some documents from the bishops of the church saying, I don't know, excuse me, they didn't really condone homosexuality, but they seemed to be more open to it. And
is their position evolving like Lisa Murkowski's?
I don't think Lisa Murkowski's
position
ever evolved.
That's what she says.
Oh.
My position is evolving.
Yeah. But I was thinking about the gay thing, and I have this great friend of mine. She lives in Los Angeles, and her world is very different than ours. They live and work in Hollywood. Her husband owns a big production company. They know a bunch of stars. They're very involved in the whole Hollywood community. They've got 5 kids. And they're a faith-based. They go to church every Sunday. They're strong evangelical Christians. But she has concluded that God is okay with homosexuality because that's her world. And she knows a lot of gay couples, and she sees them together, and they really seem to care about each other. So she has concluded in her mind, I just can't believe God would be against that. And then that's fine if you want to adopt your theology on what you see in the natural realm. Then you can do that. You can do that every day. You can base your theology on what you see, or you can base your theology on what your faith teaches you. What the Bible says. What, in the case of the Catholic Church, what are some of the doctrines that have been set down? So everybody has that struggle. Do I want to base my theology on what I see, or what I know to be true,
or what I want to believe,
or what I want to believe?
Right, which is really what she's saying.
It's much easier.
Yeah, because when you say, well, I want society to redefine marriage, even though it never in the whole history has marriage been equated with anything else, male-female marriage, and for really good reasons, you would think. But a lot of people want to undo that.
Well, it all makes sense to me, Glenn. The whole thing. I figure everything out about homosexuality. Here's the deal. You got people like my friend who wants to be tolerant, who wants to feel as though she's compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
She'll say that I've seen so many gay people who've been persecuted and mistreated by the church. Now they're mad at God and they feel like they're outcasts. So in her opinion, I'm going to condone the sin and make them feel welcome. That seems like the human thing to do, right? So that makes all the sense in the world. The day that the gay marriage thing was passed here in Alaska was it a Monday. I'm over at Nusagaya ordering some soup, and he said, hey, Dan, this guy's name Ryan. Great guy, I know him pretty well because I go in there a lot. He said, what's new today? I said, well, gay marriage. He said, I don't really care about that. It's not going to affect my wife and me. And well, that's a reasonable position, right? It's not going to affect his life.
No, it will, but
he doesn't realize that.
Okay.
From just if you're a low information voter and you don't understand the structure of society, and you understand the whole purpose of the family and the difference between a father and a mother and the roles they play. You don't really think about all that on the surface. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, if two other people who you don't know are getting married, what difference does it make?
Doesn't matter.
Sure.
So that all makes sense to me. Now you've got all these leftist judges who are thwarting the will of the people by passing, these laws,
Creating laws.
Much better stated. Now that makes sense to them. They're leftists. They don't care about the rule of law. Their agenda is much more important than the Constitution. So it's all making sense. Everybody seems to have a reasonable position.
Okay.
So my question is, so what are we going to do here? How can I possibly convince this guy at New Sagaya that when you take away the definition of marriage between being a man and a woman, what devastating consequences that'll have in society? How am I going to convince him of that?
Well,
because that's not what he sees.
Yeah, but that is the result of a lot of other arguments. Are men and women different?
Yeah.
Right? That's a fundamental argument. Are men and women different? Do they bring different things to a relationship? Is marriage about love? Or is it about something else, a little deeper? Is having children and raising them a sacrifice that society cares about versus you deciding that you're going to get together with one other person and that's going to be your life together? More importantly, what do you have the right to have your children taught? And I really think this gets down to the crux of it. I talked last week about Princess Sally rescuing from the tower Princess Susie, and that's going to be what's in your kid's kindergarten class. The left is all about changing society because they control some of the wheels of our social order, particularly education and the media. So they've been working on the media for about 2 generations. For 2 generations now, every good person who has been on a show is homosexual or unmarried.
I remember very clearly 1992. I was in Tyler, Texas, working as a news reporter, and I was standing there about ready to do a live shot, and Maria Shriver had finished her hour-long special about how homosexuality is a new civil rights movement. And I'm listening in my ear because I'm about to go on live, and I thought to myself back then, man, I don't want to see this country in 25 years. And look how far they've come.
Sure.
So quickly.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long. And the essence of it is, most people simply don't care. First of all, no kids in school are going to stand up and say, if you're a homosexual, I don't think you should be married. They don't even understand why you would make that argument. First of all, they don't even care. Who cares about marriage? Marriages fail. They're worthless. People are unhappy in them. They don't make a difference. So society shouldn't care about marriage at all. So there are a lot of kids, and this is where it sort of started to fall apart.
Well, here's the question, Glenn, that I will pose to you when we return. Do we give in? Do we give up? This is one we lost. We just move on to another battle. That's the question for Glen Biegel and Bonnie Cameron, who is being heavily censored. 6:58, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all burnt split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue.
The Talk of the Valley, 1020 AM, KVNT, Eagle River, and retranslated at 92.5 FM on K223BJ, Eagle River.
Guidelines expected today for healthcare workers to treat the disease moving forward. And now a top Ebola researcher saying the U.S. and other countries should screen all airline passengers for body temperature.
Dr. Leslie Lobel of Ben Gurion University in Israel is criticizing the U.S. for not doing enough to stop the spread of the infectious disease, saying the public health policy is lagging behind. He says airports should use infrared cameras to check all passengers for elevated temperature. Even if someone has the flu, he says, it's a public health issue and that passenger should be quarantined.
That's the Blaze's Sharona Schwartz. The U.S. military airdropping weapons and supplies to Kurds fighting ISIS terrorists. Meantime, CENTCOM saying the U.S. carrying out 135 strikes near Kobani in the past few days. This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to the Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
In Washington, D.C. this hour, a senior terrorist leader in a federal courtroom. The Blaze Radio's Robin Walensky has more.
The only suspect under arrest in connection with plotting the terrorist attack in Benghazi back on 9/11 of 2012, scheduled to be arraigned today. Abu Khatala facing the death penalty, 17 new charges being added to the indictment.
The president not getting the welcome he hopes for at a campaign rally in Maryland. While many Democratic candidates have been avoiding the president while they're on the campaign trail, Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown, who's running for governor, inviting the president to speak at an early vote rally in Marlboro. And as the president gets up to speak, a steady stream of people get up and head out of the auditorium. A heckler also interrupting him. The president's job approval rating now at 41%. We have an Ebola czar, but still no Surgeon General. Here's the Blaze Radio's Ken Stevens.
It's Washington dysfunction, Chuck. It's as simple as that. We should have one in place, and I think that's part of the problem.
Pennsylvania Democratic Senator Bob Casey on NBC's Meet the Press. And on the same show, Senator Roy Blunt, a Missouri Republican, saying the Ebola scare has put the nation's lack of a Surgeon General in the spotlight.
We keep putting everything off until after the election, and that's one of the reasons that things don't work.
Dr. Vivek Murthy was nominated almost a year ago, but Democrats and Republicans alike weren't happy with his positions on gun control.
A serial killer coming clean in the heartland. Here's the Blaze Radio's Dave Perkins.
An Indiana man confessing to killing a woman, her body found in a Motel 6 in Hammond, Indiana. The man confessing to that murder and surprising investigators by telling them where 3 more bodies could be found in Gary. Police yet to release the man's name, still questioning him, wondering if there may be even more to his story. No charges filed as yet. No word from Gary police on when the man will be charged with the crime. Dave Perkins, The Blaze News.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Hi, this is Brian Stan. I was a Marine Corps officer before becoming a UFC fighter. Military experience can add greatly to your life, as it has mine. The Air Force Reserve offers many part-time jobs in Alaska, which will allow you to continue your civilian career at the same time. You'll receive excellent training, educational assistance, and many other benefits. Join an outstanding team in the Air Force Reserve. For more information on the Air Force Reserve, go to afreserve.com.
This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this local station.
Well, howdy, I'm Nick Worthington for 4x4 Headquarters, Worthington Ford.
Home of over 1,000 vehicles and 700 4x4s.
Head in today and we'll take up to 3 times your PFD. 3 times your PFD, plus pick any vehicle, and you can make no payments until next year. Take a look.
Here's a Ford Explorer for just $89.50. and a Ford Expedition for $99.50.
Here's a Chevy 2500, only $99.50. And here's a Toyota Camry, just $13,900.
Remember, we've got over 1,000 vehicles to choose from, and winter is coming. Get a 4x4 for those icy roads ahead. And the best place for that is 4x4 headquarters.
And we'll take up to 3 times your PFD. And folks, don't forget your trade-in. We need your trade-in.
Push, pull, or drag it in, and you'll get top dollar.
Now's the time. Head into Giant Worthington Ford on Gamble.
03-2500 Q15878, 08 Expedition Q1688, 2012 Camry Q1491, 07 Explorer Q1111. On approved credit, subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Ends 10/23/2014.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out movies.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, friend stuff. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go before and after every show. Check out movies.com. It's showtime. Fagan and Biegel, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
Seven minutes past 6 o'clock. No, the complete opposite of what I just said. 6 minutes past 7 o'clock. Can you just get dyslexia in a moment like that?
Good morning.
Can you become a dyslexic?
No.
Mhm. And you
may
can
not.
unbecome a dyslexic.
You can?
Yes.
And that's where you
No,
see
you
numbers.
cannot. Don't
Are
say
you-
that.
you-
I actually know you cannot.
You have a child in the system.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's basically where you see the numbers and the letters backwards.
No, that's not at all. That just happens to be one of the things that happens.
One of the symptoms.
Yes.
It's harder to comprehend when you read.
No, when you read and when you hear things, if you eye read or ear read, you can comprehend very well. The learning disability part of it is when you take things like take the letters apart, the sounds of the word. You have to. It's not easy to put it back together. So phonetically, it's called phonemic awareness, and I could get into it, but basically, you know how we look at a word and we can just remember what it is, sing or whatever. They have to take it all apart, put it back together.
Wow.
It's very
So
exhausting.
it's much more difficult to go through the process of comprehending.
Yes,
Yeah,
and then there's
wow.
that auditory. There's a lot of times auditory
But it's
issues
in no
involved
way.
too.
It's in no way, shape, or form an indication of a lack of intelligence.
No,
It's just a
in fact,
different-
most people with dyslexia are phenomenal
Brilliant.
thinkers. Yeah,
That's
and a lot of times they are very artistic, and
Yeah.
my daughter's not, but
Yeah. That's Bonnie talking about phenomenal thinkers.
I know,
Thinkers.
thinkers.
I actually had a family member who was dyslexic.
Yeah.
And you overcome it.
Yeah.
You certainly can.
Overcome, but you can't like fix it. You can't ever. It doesn't just cure. It's not like a disease.
He was treated for a long period of time, and basically he had to learn new skills.
Yes.
And once he learned the skills, he did not have to. He overcame.
Yes, overcoming is different than fixing, but yeah, like my daughter is getting tools in order to be able to deal with it.
569-1080 is our number. 569-1080. We're talking about homosexuality and the big development this past week in Alaska courts. And gosh, I was what's the judge? What's his name? I know him pretty well.
Was it Fiftner?
No. He's the federal judge. A big, tall guy, huge dude. I don't remember his name. I was really surprised that he did what he did. I guess some say, well, you got to do it because the Supreme Court. I can see him right here, standing in front of me. He's like 6'6". But anyway, that surprised me. But we're talking about homosexuality. And, the thing is, Glenn, it all makes sense to me. As I was saying earlier, the guy at the store, I said to him, gay marriage. Oh, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. My evangelical friend who lives in Hollywood and knows a bunch of gay couples, well, they seem like they're in love to me. I don't see a problem with that. The homosexual lobby, the homosexual community, they just want to be validated. That makes sense to me. Why wouldn't you? If I had an affinity for the same sex, I wouldn't want people to think of me as less of a godly person or less of a Christian or less of a moral person it's natural to want to be validated in your lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it all makes sense to me. The activist judges who create laws for the bench to fit their agenda, well, that's what they do with everything. They don't care about the law, so they're changing the law on their own because it's popular. So everything makes sense to me. We're losing the battle. Clearly, nobody in their right mind can possibly say we're making headway. Like in the abortion debate, I think you can make that case.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do, Glenn? Do we just say, you know what, let's fight another battle? That one's gone. Or do we keep it, get in there and mixing it up at the risk of having most people thinking we're haters, we're bigots, we're homophobes, we're intolerant?
Well, my approach is to make sure that as many people as I can impact know that homosexuality is a choice. It's a choice we make pretty early in life, and it becomes a very deep-seated habit, at which point it's impossible to break.
Oh, it's not impossible to break.
I think for the most part, even the people who came and Alaska Family Action had an event, and the woman who was there who decided that she would get married, even she said, look, I'm still queer. I still have an attraction to women.
She said queer?
Yeah.
That was your word or hers?
Hers.
Oh, I didn't.
I wouldn't
use
use that word.
Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Well,
I'm surprised she said it.
Well, actually, that is normal parlance. Because it's not the what's the homosexual lobby's name where
GLAAD.
they have a GLAAD, but there's another one, but it includes queer and questioning.
Oh,
No.
you're kidding me.
Yeah. So there's
That's so politically correct.
lesbian,
transgender,
yeah, QQ. So those are the last
So
two
it's
letters.
LGBTQQ.
QQ.
I think they dropped the QQ.
Oh well,
I haven't heard. That's the first time I've heard the word queer in 25 years.
That's the last one that I had heard. Anyway, so but that was the term
my
that
dad
she
say
that
it.
she
Yeah,
said.
yeah. My great grandfather used that once.
And it's possible, I suppose, for people to drop it. I don't know. My guess is that it's pretty rare that people do come out of the lifestyle and they change the way that they think about something. Mostly because men are very visually orientated. And if we look at a woman's foot and we think, oh, that is a beautiful object, I'm going to think sexually about that, and we're trained that way, it's very difficult to break that training because sexuality is such a basic part of our existence.
What?
Sorry, you said that last week.
I know.
And I kept a straight face.
You know, there are people who have foot fetishes.
Absolutely.
Are you one of those
I would
people?
get,
Because you mentioned it
but
twice now.
I would guess about 15% of men have a woman foot fetish.
How much?
15%.
I
It's
just
very
don't
high.
I don't understand
Why do you
men.
think?
I cannot get it.
Why do you think women go through such an effort in order to paint their toenails
women.
and show their
Other
feet?
women. That's not about us. That's all about that's about other women. Come
Anyway,
on, you know
so
it is.
well, we're getting far afield, but I
Right.
guess the point here, you wanted to know, are we going to give up? I want people who I influence to know this is a choice people make.
Right.
And the homosexual lobby is going to move on from homosexual marriage. They're going to put it in your kid's kindergarten class if it's not there already. They're going to take away your right to own a business. That's what Mark Begich wanted to do with Prop 5.
They're going to subpoena your sermons.
They're going to subpoena your sermons as they did in Houston.
They're going to force you to marry them.
They're going to force you to marry them if you are in the military.
Not that you have to marry a gay person. But
No.
As a
They're going
minister.
to perform.
Exactly.
They're going to, force you to
So
perform
anyway,
the marriage.
so the next step in this is the one that really interests me because I am of the opinion that I don't care whether or not two gay people get married. And in this sense, they always have been able to. Marriage is a realization between two people. It doesn't require a minister. It doesn't require a witness. Now, legally it does, but for two people to say, we're going to stay together forever and we're pledging ourselves to each other. In that sense, gay people have always been able to get married. But in a different sense, now it's going to move on to the next step, which is now we're going to strip you of your religious principles. Now we're going to change society so that men and women are the same. And those things, and fathers don't matter, those things I think that you cannot ever give up on because those things are not true.
Biegel, Fagan, Bonnie, 714.
Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
In Washington, Mark Begich has voted with Barack Obama 97% of the time, adding trillions to the national debt, casting the deciding vote for Obamacare, and protecting Obama's executive amnesty for illegal immigrants. Alaska needs a senator who will fight back against Obama's agenda. As our Attorney General, Dan Sullivan sued to stop Obamacare and defended our Second Amendment rights. As Alaska's DNR Commissioner, Sullivan stood down Obama's EPA, unleashed new energy production, and created Alaskan jobs. Now Sullivan is running for the U.S. Senate to stop the Washington big spenders from bankrupting America. Sullivan will cut wasteful spending and support a balanced budget amendment. And Dan Sullivan is pro-life. He'll protect life while fighting to repeal Obamacare. Dan Sullivan, strong leadership for Alaska.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
Attention homeowners, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. We've told you about HARP in the past. There are so many more of you who could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on your mortgage. It's simple and easy. And for 4 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. To learn more, call 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal licensing lender. Licensed all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool! Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and count them 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
Fun, treats, activities, and more at Trick or Treat Street in downtown Anchorage on Saturday, October 25th from noon to 4 p.m. Anchorage Downtown Partnership is hosting a free event where kids of all ages are invited to come downtown to trick or treat for candy at participating merchants in a fun and safe environment along 4th and 5th Avenue from C to L Street. Fun and spectacular activities from years past are back this year, including the Skinny Raven Frightening 4K Run and Costume Contest, Haunted Visit Anchorage Log Cabin, Cookie Decorating at the Hotel Captain Cook, Anchorage Fire Department Haunted Fire Truck, face painting, balloon giveaways, and so much more. A map for participating businesses and locations for fun-filled activities can be found in the Anchorage Press. Visit downtownanchorage.org for more information, to see more activities of the day, and learn about free parking for the event. Have a safe and fun Halloween at Trick or Treat Street, brought to you by Anchorage Downtown Partnership, Odom Corporation, Dooley's Tuxedo and Costume, Skinny Raven Sports, Visit Anchorage, Easy Park, Hotel Captain Cook, Anchorage Press, Halloween Express, and Alaska Integrated Media.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley. KVNT.
Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie, 7:20 in the morning on this. How's KOAN sounding there, Brian?
I love the sound of that. That sounds great.
95.1 FM is off the air because of a power outage.
Many power
outages, and apparently other radio stations are off the air too. We are on 1080 AM in Anchorage today, and of course 1020 AM in the Valley, 92.5 FM in the Valley, and frankly, you can get us in Anchorage on I think most car radios on 92.5. So letting you know about that. Keith Montauk, Specialty Truck and Auto. If there's something wrong with your radio, he can fix it. If there's something wrong with your heater, something wrong with anything in your car, he's the guy. Keith's been in business a long time. I don't know how. Let's see. I think when I first started doing Keith's commercials, I said Keith Montauk been in business for 12 years, and that was probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's 25 now.
Is it really?
Wow.
Wow. Okay. No, he's been in business a long time, and he's very trustworthy. He really runs the premier auto shop in all of Alaska. He's got a great location if you're on the hillside, if you're in South Anchorage. He's right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon off of Abbott. Here's his number. Make an appointment. If you need a ride back to your place of employment, he may be able to help you. Not always, but most times. Here's the number, 349-1637, 349-1637. We're kind of touching on the gay marriage thing, and it's more than just, look, I know that a lot of people, a lot of low information voters think, well, okay, just let the people get married. Let's move on with our lives. It doesn't affect us. But it's not about that. It's about subpoenaing pastors. It's about locking up people who won't perform marriage ceremonies for gay couples. It's about forcing bakers to make wedding cakes for gay couples. It's about photographers forcing them to take pictures at a gay wedding. It's really a radical agenda. It's an anti-faith agenda. And that's, to me, is what it's all about. It's Glenn articulated so well in the last segment. But here's the thing I want to say that I think is very important. I do think that people who are gay, I hate to even say that, Glenn, because I don't think you're born gay, like you said. I think it's something you I don't know what has happened that caused you to be gay. I know a lot of people, they say it's all I've ever known.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been attracted to the same sex. It's just all I've known. I just don't buy that. I mean, I believe them when they say that, but I don't believe God creates anybody gay.
No.
Just like God doesn't create someone to be an adulterer or whatever, or a liar or whatever. But what I would say to the people who do practice homosexuality, say it that way, I don't want you to think that there's no hope. I do believe you can change. I do believe you can. I just believe all things are possible. I just do. I just believe all things are possible. And, even it doesn't matter what it is you deal with in your life. Because every time, one thing that I've learned about people, shame is such a debilitating thing. And those of us who go through tough times and struggle with different things in life, we tend to think we're the only ones doing it. We tend to think we're the only ones who have these kind of struggles, when in reality a lot of people do. And a lot of people have great success overcoming them. And I think that's important. And so whatever it is you're struggling with, I would suggest that most people who participate in the homosexual lifestyle, when they get into their bed at night and they're alone and it's dark and it's 2 a.m. and they really begin to search their conscience and search their heart, I think they probably know and understand deep within their heart that what they're doing is not right and not pleasing to their Creator. And they may think to themselves, there's just nothing I can do about it. That's not true. That's a lie. There is something you can do about it, and you can get help, and you can change your ways. And, what's important for the person who practices homosexuality to understand, that the housewife who gossips with a neighbor about Ethel across the street is no different in God's eyes than you who are practicing the act of homosexuality. And it's very important that you as an individual understand that you are not what you are tempted by. That is not who you are. And that's what's so dangerous about the homosexual agenda, is that it tells people who participate in this activity that it brings such pain and heartache, because it's not God's original design for you. And when you believe that you are something, that's how you were made and you were created, then you will live in that for the rest of your life. But if you believe that, okay, this is something that I've gotten myself in a position where I'm tempted by this, but this is not who I am. Just like if you go out and commit adultery, you're not necessarily an adulterer the rest of your life. All you have to do is quit commit adultery. And, as someone who's never been attracted to the same sex but is very attracted to the opposite sex, it would be very, easy for me to act out on that in a way that I don't believe would be pleasing to my God. But I don't. I try not to. And so it's no different, really. And I understand homosexuality is probably much stronger temptation than just being attracted to a woman. But I still believe. I just believe with all my heart. All things are possible. All things are possible. And to resign yourself to the fact that you are a certain way because of your temptations, I just think that's given up. And you have to find the courage, in my opinion, to stop believing that lie.
Well, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. I've had people tell me, oh, I was born that way, so I can't help it. But even if you are born that way, and people say, well, I don't believe that you were born that way, it's a choice. I think that we're all born sinners. And so you just have to choose to turn away from it. I think it kind of shuts down debate when you say, no, you weren't born that way. Because you can't tell somebody that.
All I said was
we're all born sinners.
I personally don't believe that God would create somebody.
Well, God created people, but we're all born with sin.
Well, yeah, I suppose. I mean, I don't.
So I'm just cautioning people to not use that as a form of argument when they're arguing people, for that reason.
I'm totally lost.
Well, like when you say you weren't born that way, if you're talking to somebody who identifies themselves as
first of all,
gay,
what I said was I don't believe that you were born that way. That's my personal belief. I don't believe God would create someone to do something that He wouldn't want them to do.
Well, but the second that you're born a sinner. So you just have to make those choices to turn away from sin. And so that's what you were trying to say, is that you can always turn away from it. You can always choose a different path, right?
Right.
So I caution people not to use that argument anymore. You weren't born that way, because they won't listen to you after that. People don't want to be told that.
But it's important, Bonnie. It's important. If I think that God created me to be an overeater, that was my design, and that's what He wanted me to be as a human being, that was His original plan for me, I'll never lose weight.
Right. No, I don't believe that. I'm just saying that don't use it as an excuse. When you're talking to people, it's not an excuse that we're born this way. That's not a good excuse. Don't tell that to me.
Dan's point here, though, is very, very important, because they are saying, I was created this way, therefore it must be okay. It is the argument, and if you don't question the argument, you can never win the argument with them, you say, because once you've accepted their premise, you've accepted their conclusion, and you cannot come to any other conclusion. That's why they phrase the argument that way. That's why they've worked for 20 and 30 years to find the, quote, gay gene, and they never have, and they never will, because we, just as Dante says, we can create a heaven of hell or a hell of heaven. We make our own reality. Our will is so much stronger than the creation that God has put around us, and whatever inbred or whatever, infused nature we might have, we can always overcome, because because we were created as creators ourselves, and our will creates our reality.
I know. I'm just telling. I don't say that to people anymore.
I know you don't, but I just want you. Do you understand that once you say that? Well, I'm not going to argue whether or not you were created that way. That they've already won the argument. The argument's over at that point. And
no,
then you're just
I think the opposite.
About,
I think the opposite of saying, no, I was born a sinner too. You choose every day to turn away from it. This movement is so in your face.
Mm-hmm.
At least when I know I'm sinning, I can go at the end of the day and say, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to try not to do that anymore. God, please forgive me. This is an outright unforgiveness. They don't want to be forgiven.
Yeah. So they want to redefine what's right and wrong.
729, Fagan, Biegel, Bonnie.
Fagan and Biegel. On the Talk of the Valley, KVNT. Online at 1020kvnt.com.
This is Charles White with your Matsu Report. Advocates say same-sex weddings can resume today, and Kent explains why.
The state will comply with a federal judge's order to allow gay marriage, even though it's still seeking a review from the full Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco. Other states in the same position have abandoned appeals, and gay rights supporters have urged Alaska to do the same. Gay couples can marry today if they choose, although some might spend months planning more elaborate weddings, which some say will be a boost to the local economy.
Public comment period on a proposal to resurface Schrock Road in Wasilla concludes today. If the local project is approved, construction will begin next year in the summer of 2015. Finally, Alaska has a new city. Edna Bay, which is in the southeast part of the state, has been approved for incorporation. It has a population of 49 people. KVNT, the talk of the valley.
Mostly cloudy skies with a bit of rain. For today, high 41. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 28. Sunshine and clouds tomorrow, high 40. Tomorrow night, low 23. Wednesday, sunny skies, high 38. And Thursday, a full day of sun, high 35. If the Valley's talking, you'll hear it here. KVNT Valley News Talk 92.5 FM and 1020 AM.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
October is National Pizza Month. Just hearing the word pizza brings a smile to almost everyone's face. And Sicily's Pizza wants to make you smile 5 times as big with their National Pizza Month special. Get as many as 5 medium 2-topping pizzas for only $9.99 each. Whatever style you like. For fast delivery, call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's National Pizza Month special. 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Mia Costello, Lance Pruitt, and Kathy Giesel haven't served that long in Juneau, but they have got it figured out. Junkets, Kathy Giesel has spent $80,000 on travel. Booyah, taxpayers! Taking care of donors, Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel supported the new LIO with a sole source contract that increases rent 5 times over current rates. Let Pruitt do it to us again. And having it both ways, Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel want to take money from your neighborhood schools and give it to private and religious ones instead. All the while saying they are pro-education. Sweet, huh? Yep, Costello, Pruitt, and Giesel have it figured out. Do you? This notice to voters is required by Alaska law. We certify this ad is not authorized, paid for, or approved by the candidate. This ad paid for by Putting Alaskans First Committee. Top contributors are Alaska AFL-CIO, UA Local 375 PAC, and PSEA PAC.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out movies8.com. It's showtime, movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, friend stuff, lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go before and after every show. Check out movies8.com. It's showtime.
Here at the hospital, the focus is patient health. But as the administrator, my focus is patient information. Medical histories, lab results, millions of documents printed, scanned, and accessed.
With intelligent EcoSys printers and powerful MFPs like the 45-page per minute Task Alpha 4551 CI, plus customized apps and services, Kyocera helps you manage the many documents that matter.
At a hospital, every document is important.
Learn more at kyoceradocumentsolutions.com/US.
Royal Business Systems has been a leading provider of high-quality business technology and services since 1990. Royal Business Systems provides HP, Okidata, and Kyocera printers and MFPs, and support recognized throughout the industry as best in class. Come to Royal Business Systems for the total document solution you need to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Don't call 1-800-WHO-CARES. Call Royal Business Systems at 563-4118. That's 563-4118. Or visit us at akcopy.net.
Hi, this is Brian Stan. I was a Marine Corps officer before becoming a UFC fighter. Military experience can add greatly to your life, as it has mine. The Air Force Reserve offers many part-time jobs in Alaska, which will allow you to continue your civilian career at the same time. You will receive excellent training, educational assistance, and many other benefits. Join an outstanding team in the Air Force Reserve. For more information on the Air Force Reserve, go to afreserve.com.
This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this local station.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
All right, welcome back. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Caraman. I want to get to the big story of the day, which is something that I think is highly relevant and very important. Let me hear a little 95.1. Love that. 95.1 is off the air because there's a power outage.
Yeah, all kinds of snow.
All kinds of snow. How's it still snowing out there, Brian? You got a window open?
Yeah, it is actually.
Oh my goodness!
Right
How
now.
am I going to get home?
It was
Bonnie.
like 7 inches
Bonnie
of
could drive
snow
you.
Yeah, I've
at
got
my
a great
house.
car.
There's a huge amount of snow, really heavy, wet.
I never thought I would see the media, the national media, or any media, so abandon the pretense of being fair as they were during the Sarah Palin, John McCain run against Barack Obama. It was unbelievable. But it got even. It was outdone with the Alaska Dispatch going after Joe Miller. That was by far. Look, you're listening to a guy who is a former news reporter, who is a former Sunday columnist, who is a former journalism professor, and a talk show host. I've never seen anything like when the Alaska Dispatch went after Joe Miller when he was running against Lisa Murkowski. They have outdone themselves. Alice Rogoff and Tony Hopfinger at the Alaska Dispatch by running a story or 2 stories or 3 stories or 2 stories in a column every stinking day about the National Guard scandal. You would have thought you would have thought there would have been 100 people killed at the National Guard, and Sean Parnell knew about it. This is a problem that has been long in existence in the National Guard, And yes, Parnell, yes, the buck stops with him. I would have liked to seen him move a little quicker, but every governor we've had, there's something on Amanda Coyne today, a memo from the Knowles days, how the National Guard's out of control, sexual assault's out of control. That's back to Tony Knowles. The Dispatch is all in. They're all in. All their chips in the center of the table. We must get the unity ticket elected. And here's how we know, folks. I can confirm to you that at one of the meetings, not all of them, maybe more than one, but I can tell you absolutely at least one of the meetings designed to put together the unity ticket, the Walker-Malott ticket, was Alaska Dispatch News publisher Alice Rogoff. She was in attendance, and she was there helping orchestrate that ticket. I have had 2 different confirmations on that.
And then she went and published an article herself.
August 2nd.
By herself.
She wrote a big, long column saying we need to unite as a state. Alaska divided.
I wonder if she came up with the name Unity Ticket.
But here's the thing, Glenn, Bonnie. This attack, this onslaught against Sean Parnell, trying to make him accountable for a problem that has been in the National Guard. We had a gal call the show a couple of weeks ago, said she's been associated with the National Guard for 28 years. Her husband, her daughter, they've known about this for years at the National Guard. And to try to pin this all on Sean Parnell day after day after day, not just one story, sometimes as many as 3, clearly indicates that Tony Hopfinger and Alice Rogoff have said to themselves, hey, we totally got Lisa Murkowski elected against Joe Miller. Let's get the Unity ticket in there, too. We don't care if people think we're biased. Let's go for it.
They got nowhere else to go. We got a monopoly on news in the state of Alaska. Let's make this happen. It's a powerful message that they keep sending because it does look like Parnell waited too long. And so they've got this one thing to go on. As it turns out, I think that this would fall away if we had people like Amanda Coyne, by the way. This is the power of having an unbiased news. This is how much of a difference they make. Amanda Coyne comes out and says, oh, by the way, look, the National Guard problem's been going on for a long period of time. Here is, an administrative order by Governor Tony Knowles back in 1994 and 1995. I mean, it totally changes the tenor of the story, and it's
never see it in the dispatch.
It's incumbent upon the dispatch to give us the full story here. Yeah. Well, they're not worried about it, and I do think that you're right. Alice Rogoff, she's picked a side. Her folks have picked a side. Her newspapers picked a side. Her stories have picked a side, and they are going to keep harping on this because the power of it is that Joe Miller handed to Tony Hopfinger just enough to hang him.
Yes.
And I think Parnell...
Well, he handed him a little bit more than just enough.
He handed him enough to hang him. Maybe not just enough. But Parnell, here, to all of the people who are looking at this from the outside, especially if you don't have some critical key pieces of information, like he turned over every single allegation. He had them walk it through, that Begich and Murkowski both were following up on these things, that everybody was looking into this because they'd heard a lot about it. And it looked on the surface like Parnell was doing the right thing. It turned out that Katkus took him to the cleaner.
Lying to everybody.
He was so devious, and he was so powerful, and he had such a powerful and magnetic personality, and he knew law enforcement, and he knew what he had to say, what he should say, how they work, how to get out of it. And that's what he did over and over again.
None of that represented in any of the coverage in the Alaska Dispatch.
It's powerful.
But Glenn, now let me ask you a question. Now, and Bonnie, you can answer this if you like. Alice Rogoff, she's gazillionaire. Her husband, just has more money than anybody we know. She buys the paper. That's fine. You have a lot of money. Good on you, as Sarah Palin used to say. Do you owe it to the citizenry of Alaska to say to the general population, hey, you know what? I was in on at least one of the planning meetings to form the Unity ticket. And I want to disclose that to my readers. Does she, as the publisher of the Alaska Dispatch News, owe us that?
Well, if she did, of course, it would change the election significantly because people would say, okay, well, let me recolor all the stories that you've given me. And now the question is, what do you think she'll do?
Well, I'm asking you, what should she do?
Well, she's got to come out and say, on August 2nd, I had these conversations with Vince Beltrami and various people.
August 2nd was the column.
I know,
we
but
don't know the date of when she.
Well, whenever she. But all I'm saying is she printed a column.
Calling for unity.
Calling for unity, essentially calling for this ticket, and it's obvious her paper has been involved. So I'd like to know, has she instructed anyone at the paper to write columns against Parnell? What is her involvement in this? Because we need to know how her intentions and her desires. She obviously could print her own article. We know that.
Here would be the questions that I would ask her in email. 1, can you let me know how many stories you've published in the last month about the National Guard story? 2, how many columns have you run on the National Guard story? 3, were you in attendance at one or any of the meetings that were designed to formulate the Unity Party? 4, did your column on August 2nd indicate your support for Walker Malat ticket before it formed? And 5, has it affected your news coverage?
You think she'll answer that? Because I think she should.
We'll shoot it off today right after the show.
I mean, it's important.
I've corresponded with her once. We were going to have her on the TV show once, and I wasn't there that day. And so she walked in, and it was just Elizabeth and somebody else, and she said, "Where's Dan Fagan?" And I said, "Oh, he's not here today." So she walked out.
Oh.
So that's
wow.
And I met her in Fairbanks at a mining conference. The only time I ever met her, and she walks up to me, she turns her head, she goes, "Well, I'll say this for you, Dan Fagan. At least you're smart."
Oh.
Whoa.
I'm assuming she doesn't agree with me
Compliment.
politically, but she doesn't think I'm a dumbass. 744. Fake being a bug.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, and online at 1020kvnt.com.
At Amana, the Million Air heat exchanger found in all our gas furnaces is living up to its name and then some. The Million Air recently surpassed the 2 million cycle mark in our test facility, and it's still going strong. In fact, we're so confident in its reliability, Amana offers a lifetime unit replacement limited warranty to the original registered homeowner if the heat exchanger ever fails for as long as they own the home. For information on the Million Air warranty, contact Connect Heating LLC, your authorized Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts. Your local Amana experts are Connect Heating LLC. Stay warm, shop smart, shop local. Choose the Amana experts right here in the Mat-Su. Look at the mountaintops. We know what's coming. The time to plan for your warm and comfortable winter is now. Visit connectheating.com. That's connectheating.com.
This is Olympic cross-country skier Holly Brooks. Are you an adult who wants to help today's girls become tomorrow's leaders? Girl Scouts of Alaska is looking for volunteers. Lead a Girl Scout troop, coach a Lego robotics team, or present at a workshop. Parents, grandparents, college students, and retirees can all be Girl Scout volunteers. All you need is a willingness to help make tomorrow's leaders from today's girls. Girls like me, because I was a Girl Scout. Visit www.girlscoutsalaska.org or call 248-2250.
The flu, pneumonia, whooping cough, hepatitis A, shingles, meningitis, tetanus. That's a scary list. But did you know immunizations can protect you from every one? You didn't? Well, we do. Rite Aid pharmacists are certified to immunize against the most common preventable diseases. Find out what immunizations you need with a free immunization evaluation at Rite Aid today. With us, it's personal. Availability and age restrictions apply in some states. See pharmacist for details.
The highway, a strip of asphalt to carry you between points A and B. But in an all-new 2015 Mercedes-Benz GLA, there is no point B. Because when you're driving a GLA from Mercedes-Benz, you're not concerned with the destination, only the adventure. With off-road transmission mode and a sleek design, this SUV performs with confident style on any terrain. And no matter where your adventure takes you, the all-new GLA's sporty, expressive styling fits in, yet stands out, complementing the many sides of you. See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today and see the world differently in a GLA 250 4MATIC, starting at $33,300.
MSRP for a 2015 GLA 250 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
2014, Alaska's economy is picking up steam. Governor Sean Parnell has a gas pipeline project on track, signed agreements, field programs up and running, funding in place. But it's an election year, see? Bill Walker wants to stop this train. Walker's plan? Well, it doesn't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy election. Walker tried to stop any gas line that didn't go to Valdez. Walker's plan had no gas, no permits. Alaskans know three things about Governor Parnell. He's an honest man, keeps his word, and cares deeply about Alaska. Parnell got Cook Inlet booming, Point Thompson and a gas pipeline moving forward, 16,000 new jobs created. Walker, he'd be a governor we'd regret. Maybe not today, but soon.
Re-elect Governor Sean Parnell, paid for by Parnell Sullivan 2014 for Alaska's future. Fagan and Biegel, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
7:49 in the morning. It's a snowy Monday morning. Gosh, doggone, I can't tell you how good it is to be back in the saddle with you two.
Oh, that feels good.
Yeah.
We missed you.
I missed both of you.
Heck week. I told my kids, I said, kids, this was like last Monday. I said, kids, I'm in heck week. This is going to be a tough week for me. So just say a prayer. We'll figure out how to get through it.
Heck is the place where people who don't believe in gosh go.
That was funny.
I heard that last night somewhere. I think it was Jon Stewart or something. 569-1080, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Glad you're here. Our good friend Mike Daniels over at Country Financial. Mike's a great guy. We were talking about wisdom during the break, and, man, he's wise. You know, I think that's one of the things we're supposed to do in life is go out and get wisdom. But we can't know everything, and Mike Daniels and his team of country representatives here in Alaska, they have dedicated their lives to getting wisdom when it comes to financial planning. They know stuff you and I have never even thought of. And if you go see Mike Daniels or one of his country representatives, you're gonna learn things that you had no idea, things you can do to help you get from point A to point B being a successful, worry-free retirement. Country Financial, they've got 13 locations in Alaska, 5 in Anchorage, 5 in the Valley. Very heavy presence. Go see Mike Daniels. Here's his number, 866-COUNTRY. 866-COUNTRY. Country spelled
COUNTRY.
Did you ever spell country when I was gone?
I did.
We added something new, too.
Oh, yeah?
And Beagle is spelled
Beagle.
According to Amanda Coyne.
According to Amanda Coyne.
And our van, I think.
And our van, it's Beigle.
Well, you know, frankly, if I was named after a dog, I would change my name to the correct spelling.
That is a great idea. I'll just do that.
I mean, why do you cause people such heartache?
You know, beagles are enormously stupid animals. The 5th dumbest dog on the planet. Is that right? Yeah, we are way smarter than the Afghan wolfhound, which is the dumbest dog on the planet.
See, now that doesn't make any sense to me because normally there's some connection to your name.
Mm-hmm.
And you are not in any way, shape, or form stupid.
It can take 75 iterations to instruct a beagle as to what it is that they're supposed to do. And they cannot stop chewing your shoes.
I'm not.
Does that go for your kids, too?
Shoes and digging. They're just too stupid to understand that.
I don't really care much for stupidity. I don't really like people who are stupid. I don't like animals that are stupid.
I don't know why.
Why are you looking at me?
I had it. Look, I had
That's offensive.
Stupid is as stupid does.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, man. I've found that people who are unintelligent are oftentimes the happiest people on the planet.
No, I disagree. Life's hard when you're
Why are you looking at me, Glenn, again?
Ignorance is bliss. I disagree. Life is hard
because I was thinking of a girlfriend I had when I was in high school.
Are you saying women are stupid?
No. But this was truly a dumb person.
Happy people
a dumb
are
blonde.
stupid.
She was literally.
Happy people are stupid. You just
She
said that.
was the smartest person. I mean, she was the happiest person I've ever met. She never had a bad day.
Well, maybe when you're ignorant, you just are happy all the time.
That's what I was wondering. I mean, I really have struggled with my whole life.
I met a girl in Redding, California, and I do believe she was the dumbest woman I've ever met. The dumbest human being I've ever met. We're sitting at this Mexican restaurant, and she was unemployed, and she's talking to me. I said, you know, have you tried to get a job or anything? It's been about a year. And she goes, well, you know, I had one job, but it just didn't really work out. I said, what was that? She said, well, and this is not an exaggeration. She said, I went on Craigslist, and there was this job where that they said that if they're going to send me checks, then I was supposed to deposit it, and then they wanted me to send a portion back in money orders. And she said it was the thing that they couldn't cash the check where they were. and get this, I'm not kidding. She says, and you're not going to believe this, it was a scam.
Yeah. Really?
And that was the one job she had.
That was the job. I said, really? And she said, yeah. It turns out the checks they sent me weren't any good. I said, well, how much did you lose? She said, about $400. And I said, well, you can't show. I said, well, when the checks weren't any good. I said, did you call the police? She said, no, I was embarrassed. I said, when you were deciding to do this job, did you tell anybody, you know, maybe your neighbor, maybe like a 4-year-old across the street, or you know, your dog? She says, no, I didn't tell anybody. I said, because I think most people probably would have been able to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
She said, really?
Somebody could have warned you.
I'm not kidding. This woman actually, and here's the beauty of the story. she was telling the story as though I was going to be surprised that it was a scam.
At the outcome.
Yes, you're not going to believe this. It was a scam.
Now here's the question, though. Was she happy or not?
She was pretty happy.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
the government was paying for everything. I bought her meal.
There you go.
See, I was about to ask you, was she just acting that way? But
Oh,
she
no.
really wasn't
She was
acting. Because when I was, younger, I used to act stupid. But because it was cute. It's not so cute after you're about 20.
Yeah.
Really? Fake stupid?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't find stupid
I used to get a
cute.
lot of attention that way.
Really?
Yeah.
I never found
But then I
stupid
started
cute.
praying for wisdom.
Have you ever fake stupid, Glenn?
A lot of women do
Glenn
it.
can't.
Girls.
I've
a
often
lot of
felt
young
Glenn's so
girls.
smart, he
Oh,
can't
no.
fake stupid.
No, amongst my brothers and sisters, yeah. And then I got stuck in these classes in high school where they were like the smartest people. I remember the guy. Let me just tell me how smart do you think this person is? His name is Vanya Creekhouse.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
What nationality was he?
I don't know. I'm guessing German or something along those lines. Anyway, he's the smartest person I've ever met, and it's just weird because he didn't even have to do any of the homework for like AP chemistry.
Yeah.
He just took the tests and got straight A's.
Yeah.
Genius.
You're like, how do you even do that? How is that even possible? It just makes sense to me. You're like, oh, brother.
Yeah. My sister's like that.
Oh,
She was in classes with all Asians.
yeah.
She's the only white person in any of her classes ever. Yeah, I mean, seriously, she
Yeah.
was ridiculous.
Why are they so much smarter? Why are there...
The average IQ of an Asian person is 11 points higher than a Caucasian person.
You are racist.
Do you think it's a family, like a...
No, I do think that is. I think it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
I don't think
You're
it's
all a
genetic.
bunch of racists.
So they start studying math and calculus when they're
Wow.
2.
I was in college in the stupidest class I've ever taken, or it was dumb for me to take this class. It was a second Calc 2, and it was a night class. And just to let you know, when you get into college, so you get out of the house and you're going into college, taking a night class for Calculus 2 is not a smart thing to do because it's really hard to go. So anyway, there was this 10-year-old Asian kid at the front of the class, and this is Calc 2, right?
What?
And the teacher's up at the front of the class saying, okay, well, we're going to do this, integration or derivation or whatever it was. And so the kid would sit there, wait for him to write it on the board, and then do the problem. And about 30 seconds later, he'd look back up at the board.
It's funny because Asians typically vote Democrat, but there was a revolt, especially in the Bay Area, San Francisco, because they are so heavily lenient on affirmative action in the universities in California, and that was totally wiping out the Asians.
Yeah, they couldn't get in.
They couldn't get in even though they were the most qualified.
Yeah.
And
they had the best grades, highest SATs.
But there was a poll that came out, and they had a higher percentage of Asians beginning to vote Republican as a result of realizing what the Democrats were really standing for, which is not achievement and accomplishments, but preferences based on race. And the Asian community was beginning to revolt against that.
Well, as they should.
There's still hope. 569-1080, 569-1080. Drive out there, or be careful driving out there. Don't text as you drive. Right,
No,
Bonnie?
Never text, especially in
Never
Minnesota,
text.
especially as you're turning onto Minnesota.
That's right.
Funny one.
And you're driving next to a school bus? Yeah, don't do that.
Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie, KOAN, KVNT, 7:58 in the morning.
Often based on the recommendation of someone trusted, friends, clergy, or family. They recommend who they feel is the best. Hi folks, I'm Scott Jansen, owner of Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Eagle River Funeral Home, and Alaska Cremation Center. I'm also a two-time Iditarod finisher, known these days as the Mush and Mortician. We hear from many families we have served that they chose Evergreen based on the experience of someone close to them. What better compliment could a funeral home receive? We value the trust families have placed in us and have earned a reputation of providing those we serve the most comfortable facilities, professional staffing, service options, and merchandise available. When you need to choose a funeral home or crematory, choose a locally owned Jansen Funeral Home, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home, or Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, where, just like family, we're there when you need us.
The Talk of the Valley, 92.5 FM and 1020 AM, KVNT, Eagle River, Houston, a service of Alaska Integrated Media.
Now it looks like Texas on the verge of being Ebola-free. The Blaze Radio's Robin Walensky.
We were able to announce that of the original 48 contacts, 43 of those contacts have effectively rolled off and are Ebola-free.
More than 40 people here in Dallas, Texas, who come in contact with Thomas Duncan cleared now by the CDC as the 21-day incubation period over. Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins says a few more people still being monitored.
4 more people who were healthcare workers who saw Mr. Duncan, they'll be rolling off a little later.
A large amount of U.S. supplied weapons and ammunition being dropped into the key Syrian border town of Kobani. This for Kurdish forces fighting ISIS terrorists. This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
If you or someone you know is addicted to drugs or alcohol, please write down this number, 1-800-426-6186. That's 1-800-426-6186. By calling Aid in Recovery for help with drug and alcohol addiction, you can turn your life around. Our advisors are ready to match you with a proven treatment center that will end your drug or alcohol addiction once and for all. Your future is a bright place. Don't waste any more time making friends and family worry about you. When you call right now, you'll speak to an expert advisor who understands what you're going through. We can help you break your addiction to drugs and alcohol before it's too late. This call is completely confidential, and if you have private insurance, there'll be little to no cost to you. Take control of your life now. Make the one call count. 1-800-426-6186. That's 1-800-426-6186. 1-800-426-6186. 1-800-426-6186.
Still not interested in a travel ban from Ebola-stricken areas, the Blaze Radio's Mari Cartel reports.
It would make it harder to move healthcare workers and supplies back and forth.
The president is still refusing to impose a travel ban for visitors holding visas from West Africa to prevent the spread of Ebola. Now, Dr. Gerald Weissman, a professor from NYU Langone Medical Center, disagrees with the decision. Dr. Weissman saying countries where bans are in effect have no cases of the deadly virus. The doctor reminding that quarantines and travel bans are methods in fighting cholera during the mid-19th century in New York. I'm Mari Cartel, the Blaze News.
A senior terrorist leader in a federal courtroom today, Ahmed Abdul Khattala, facing the death penalty if convicted in the September 11, 2012 terrorist attack in Benghazi, Libya. An indictment released last week, adding 17 new charges to his indictment. One of the best debuts ever for a film about World War II, the Blaze Radio's Chris Barnes saying Fury is a force to be reckoned with at the box office.
Bible, stand by. I'll call the shot.
Capturing more than $23 million in ticket sales in its opening weekend, Brad Pitt's gritty look at the big one through the eyes of an artillery crew that operates a tank named Fury, enjoying the fourth best debut for a World War II film ever.
I'm going to hold this crossroad. What you mean you gotta hold this? The tank's busted.
Reviews focusing on how violent and bloody the movie is. Brad Pitt, who stars as Fury's commander, saying it's not just gratuitous violence.
I just have a different take on that. The world's a beautiful place. It's also a very violent place.
The movie Gone Girl crossing the $100 million mark. It was tops at the box office for 2 weeks before Fury blasted the film down to second place.
And Apple rolling out its new Pay system, letting people use their iPhones to make purchases at more than 200,000 stores. McDonald's, Target, and Walgreens among the companies in the Apple Pay network. I'm John DeMaster with news on the Blaze Radio Network. Truth lives here.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
Well, howdy, I'm Nick Worthington for 4x4 Headquarters, Worthington Ford.
Home of over 1,000 vehicles and 700 4x4s.
Head in today and we'll take up to 3 times your PFD. 3 times your PFD plus pick any vehicle and you can make no payments until next year. Take a look.
Here's a Ford Explorer for just $89.50 and a Ford Expedition for $99.50.
Here's a Chevy 2500, only $99.50. And here's a Toyota Camry, just $13,900.
Remember, we've got over 1,000 vehicles to choose from, and winter is coming. Get a 4x4 for those icy roads ahead. And the best place for that is 4x4 Headquarters.
And we'll take up to 3 times your PFD. And folks, don't forget your trade-in. We need your trade-in.
Push, pull, or drag it in, and you'll get top dollar.
Now's the time. Head into Giant Worthington Ford on Gamble.
03-2500 Q15878, 08 Expedition Q1688, 2012 Camry Q1491, 07 Explorer Q1111. On approved credit, subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Ends 10/23/2014.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out movies8.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, friends, stop. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go. After every show, check out movies8.com. It's showtime. Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m.
6 minutes past 8 o'clock. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT out in the valley. Our FM signal in Anchorage is off the air right now because of a power outage. But they're working on it. And we're excited about that. Vince Beltrami is the head of the AFL-CIO. Glenn pointed out last week or the week before he makes about $180,000.
187 in salary for a 40-hour-a-week job.
Doesn't include benefits.
Not include benefits.
You can always tell whenever there's working families in the title, it's a Vince Beltrami column. He writes, Alaska's working families can't afford Dan Sullivan in the Senate. Let me read you the first sentence, just to let you know what a swell, positive guy Mr. Beltrami is. Lie. Exaggerate. Lie some more. Repeat, repeat, repeat. This is the strategy. Those who don't care one iota about Alaska are deploying. This is this guy. This is where he's got. Lie. You don't care about Alaska. It's us against them. If you're not in the union, you're the bad guy. This is what I wrote after his, he goes on and on and on about Sullivan coming from a wealthy family, so that's a bad thing. The profits.
Beltrami's got a wealthy family. It can't be that bad of a thing.
He says they want to control Congress to fatten their ever-exploding, outrageous profits. So I wrote on there, which I have to find it. Here it is. And basically what Beltrami does is he opens his heart. And what we see is his beliefs. Now, I think the Sullivan race is over. I think Sullivan's going to win by 8 to 9 points, maybe even 10. My original prediction was double digits, but I think it's going to be a bloodbath. But Walker and Parnell, very tight race. So here's what I wrote. Begich is one and done. What I don't understand is why Beltrami would write this column exposing his anti-profit, anti-capitalism, pro-Workers' Party Soviet-style beliefs when he is the guy behind the Walker ticket. Walker needs to fool at least some conservatives to vote for him, yet Beltrami is the puppet master behind the Beltrami-Walker ticket. this column could wake up some conservatives and end up costing Walker in what is a very tight race. I don't know why Vince Beltrami would put this leftist. I mean, this Shannon Moore couldn't get more left in this column.
We call it a diatribe.
I was going to use that word, and I pulled back.
You did?
That's amazing.
Why?
I don't know. It was a much better word. But the point is, here, Beltrami, who everybody knows is the mastermind behind the Walker Malott ticket, he's exposing his real thoughts and beliefs. And I'm thinking, well, I was going to vote for Bill Walker, but this guy's like a communist, man.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I use the word communist, people go, oh, you're so exaggerating. But he is at the very least a socialist because the unions want to control the means of production. They want to own the pipeline. They want the state to own the pipeline. It's socialism at its very core. Socialism, just like marijuana leads to meth, socialism leads to communism. So I think he's going to hurt his buddy, Bill Walker, by going after a guy, Sullivan, who's already going to win.
I think you give people a little too much credit. Because, just like most people don't know who Vince Beltrami is, and a lot of people, I can't believe that so many conservatives are going to vote for Walker Malott either, since it's Mark Begich's the NEA, AFL-CIO ticket. I don't know how they figure they're going to cut the budget. So I don't know. I think you're giving people a little too much credit to try and connect the dots.
I think a lot of people know that Vince Beltrami is one of the masterminds, along with Alice Rogoff at the Dispatch.
Which you just revealed today.
Yeah, behind this unity ticket. I think a lot of people know that.
That is a lot of power, by the way, to have the big union and big paper, right? Big ink.
Big media.
Big ink and big union behind the same ticket.
Well, that gives Walker the freedom to go to this crowd and say A, and then go to this crowd and contradict himself and say B.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it gives him carte blanche to say anything he wants because they're not going to hold him to anything.
And he hasn't been giving any specifics on anything either.
They need to.
All Begich's people are winking at each other. I'm surprised that they don't have Tourette's of the eye here because they all know what's going on. They all know what's good. This is Begich's ticket. This is what I don't understand. And I started to misunderstand this under Wirch. Wirch was really good to the unions.
Oh, kissed up to them.
Right, kissed up to them, gave them nice raises.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, and Parnell has been not quite as friendly, but he has still come through with a big increase in funding for education. Now, what I don't understand is Walker has said, I'm cutting the budget. I'm cutting the budget across the board. I am going to come out 16% cuts. Nobody's going to be exempt. It's going to be very painful. It's going to be awful. I don't understand why the teachers union doesn't say, okay, well, he's going to cut the budget. Parnell has just given us this huge, massive $100 million increase. Why aren't we supporting Parnell?
Let's see if Bonnie knows the answer to that question.
What was the question?
She can't multitask. When she reads her novels on her computer.
No, I was just no.
The answer is they know he's not going to cut the budget.
Okay.
They know it.
Parnell gave them what they wanted.
Actually, what I was thinking goes with what he was saying because I was talking about this title of this article on ADN. Vote for governor likely to decide fate of Medicaid expansion in Alaska. And it's Walker talks about how he's going to cut this and cut that, but he's going to raise Medicaid, he's going to expand it. The first line is the future of the healthcare program that covers some of Alaska's poorest residents hinges largely on who voters elect governor in November. So there you have, and then he goes on to basically make fun of Parnell and say that he should have expanded Medicaid when he's going to cut everything. But yet he's going to expand all these things too? How do you do both? You cannot do both.
It's a great question, and it's a question for which he is doesn't seem that interested in providing an answer.
But Glenn, it goes back to your original point. You've got the unions and big media on Walker's side. So when Walker gets in there and grows government like the Senate bipartisan group government,
they'll cover.
They're not going to hold him accountable. He knows that going in.
Yeah, and the same thing has been true, by the way, for Begich. If a Republican went in and spent $7 trillion of the next generation's wealth, $30,000 for every person, and they try to come up and say, "Look how great I've been for the state of Alaska. I tried to build an airport out in the middle of nowhere with your stimulus money." Be like, who cares? You just put us in the poorhouse, every freaking one of
My
us.
kids.
Yeah, every one of our children's going to be in the poorhouse because of you, the most expensive senator. You're right. If the media was fair and if they were going to cover this with any level of rationality, Begich would have no chance. I still think this is going to be a lot closer than people expect, by the way.
I don't.
Have you heard back from Alice Rogoff yet?
No, I just sent her an email.
I'm waiting on pins and needles.
Bye. 8:14.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. To the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
This is Olympic cross-country skier Holly Brooks. Are you an adult who wants to help today's girls become tomorrow's leaders? Girl Scouts of Alaska is looking for volunteers. Lead a Girl Scout troop, coach a Lego robotics team, or present at a workshop. Parents, grandparents, college students, and retirees can all be Girl Scout volunteers. All you need is a willingness to help make tomorrow's leaders from today's girls. Girls like me, because I was a Girl Scout. Visit www.girlscoutsalaska.org or call 248-2250.
Every day, the state of Alaska spends around $7 million that it doesn't have. Alaska is in the red, spending $2 billion a year from our savings. Sean Parnell has used up 30% of the state's savings account, and he has no plan to put the state back in the black. Remember Dan Sullivan's $10 million tennis courts? Parnell funded that when the state was broke. Sean Parnell talks about being fiscally conservative, but the state of Alaska has gone from surplus to debtor while he's been governor. That's a fact. And Dan Sullivan is talking about using your PFD to pay for government. Sullivan said using the permanent fund for government was a beautiful thing. Really. It's time for a change.
Paid for by Alaskans for Walker Malott. This notice to voters is required by Alaska law. We certify that this ad is not authorized, paid for, or approved by the candidate. Top 3 contributors are Alaska AFL-CIO, Barney Gottstein, and Robin Brennan.
In a world where right versus left, zealot versus dogmatic, pipelines versus pipe dreams, one man steps into the gauntlet of rhetoric with flags of truth, justice, and honor. The Tom Anderson Show. Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. on KVNT 92.5 FM and 1020 AM. The Valley's only rush hour news and political forum. Are you ready to rumble? Tune in to the Tom Anderson Show on KVNT.
Make your next corporate or social event spectacular with Logistics LLC. Team Logistics is passionate about their work and welcomes the opportunity to provide you in-depth expertise in creating and transforming your vision into reality. Make Logistics LLC your first call when needing assistance with planning your next event. From gala dinners, holiday parties, company picnics, team building, fundraisers, weddings, and more. Logistics LLC will design, plan, and create an event that provides impact and inspiration that will work within your budget. Team Logistics has the innovative ability to create seamless events that allow our clients to dream big and deliver an amazing event that is sure to wow you. Think Logistics, whatever the reason, and watch them build an environment of magic and wonder for your special occasions. Get a quote and more information online at logisticsllc.com or give them a call at 276-6060.
Fun, treats, activities, and more at Trick or Treat Street in downtown Anchorage on Saturday, October 25th from noon to 4 p.m. Anchorage Downtown Partnership is hosting a free event where kids of all ages are invited to come downtown to trick or treat for candy at participating merchants in a fun and safe environment along 4th and 5th Avenue from C to L Street. Fun and spectacular activities from years past are back this year, including the Skinny Raven Frightening 4K Run and Costume Contest, Haunted Visit Anchorage Log Cabin, cookie decorating at the Hotel Captain Cook, Anchorage Fire Department enforcement, haunted fire truck, face painting, balloon giveaways, and so much more. A map for participating businesses and locations for fun-filled activities can be found in the Anchorage Press. Visit downtownanchorage.org for more information, to see more activities of the day, and learn about free parking for the event. Have a safe and fun Halloween at Trick or Treat Street, brought to you by Anchorage Downtown Partnership, Odom Corporation, Dooley's Tuxedo and Costume, Skinny Raven Sports, Visit Anchorage, Easy Park, Hotel Captain Cook, Anchorage Press, Halloween Express, and Alaska Integrated Media.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT 92.5
8:19 in the morning, a snowy Monday morning here on the 20th day of October. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. It was an absolute mess this morning. I mean,
really
she is
am.
just. What are you doing over there?
Have you ever, like, almost spilled something and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't spill that. And then you spill it?
I usually just spill it the first time.
That just happened to me.
Yeah. I hope you're all right.
Yeah, well.
I got a true confession.
All right, let me talk about Chugats Chiropractic.
All right.
So when you went out to Chugats Chiropractic last week,
I did.
and you learned something about yourself.
Yeah, they took x-rays of me, and I had some kind of calcification in there, and so now I've got to go get it checked out further.
What is calcification?
I don't know. I have an appointment later today.
At Chugats?
With a different doctor. But,
okay.
But they found it for me, and they're helping me out.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. You know, Dr. Myron Swaggart, he's really very helpful at, you'll learn things about your body you had no idea. I learned my right leg was shorter than my left. And Glenn learned that his brain is much bigger than his skull was equipped to handle.
Bigger than we thought before.
Yeah, they found out that his brain is just totally pushing against the walls, the inside walls of his skull.
Does it hurt, Glenn?
There's just nothing he can do. It's just so
When you guys talk about it, it does. All right.
So go see the folks at Chugats
Rain out of
Chiropractic.
this.
They're great folks. Dr. Swigert and Dr. Madden, great team. Here's the number, 694-9224. 694-9224. That's Chugats Chiropractic. Glenn, it's confession time.
Yes, I am sorry for
569-1080, by
the S word, the snow descending. It was my fault because I was all ready. I got all the tires changed over, I think 2 days ago, but yesterday I finished my shed, and that was the impetus for the snow to descend.
So once the shed was done, the snow was going to fly.
Yep. And if I had waited another week, we'd have had another week of no snow.
And you did have beautiful weekends for that shed, by the
Over
way.
and over and over
Yes.
and over.
It was a
Yeah.
very good fall.
So you have the capability of holding snow off.
It is apparent that I do. Yeah, and I'm accepting and shouldering this burden, with a little bit of humility, and I do appreciate that. So if anybody needs anything to happen with the weather, just let me know.
Can we call you Old Man Winter now?
Yes, Mr. What was I? Mr. Ice Miser.
Oh yeah, there you go.
A snow miser? What is it?
Snow miser.
Snow miser.
I have one wish
Cold
when
miser.
it comes to the weather. I have one request.
That you can golf 24/7
Nope,
every.
nope. I realize that's a dream that's just died up here in Alaska.
Not going to happen.
My one wish. I don't care if we get 100 feet of snow. I don't care if we don't get any snow. I don't care if it rains. I don't care if it sleets. I don't care if it's windy. I don't care if it's sunny. I don't care if it's cloudy. I don't care if it's foggy. I have one request. When I walk outside from my residence to my car, to my car to my place of employment, to my car to my grocery store, I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to feel pain. And there are times in Alaska when it is so stinking cold that it is painful. That's my one request. I don't want to be in pain.
Almost need a
Bonnie,
jacket.
here's what we're going to do. We are going to find a snowsuit, like a full-blown snowsuit that you'd wear if you were on a
Padded.
snow machine. Exactly.
Yeah,
the
get him
huge
some of those
black
lined-
ones with a big hat
Down.
and big gloves. We are going to dress you in
Some
at some
lined
point, and you are
pants.
going to feel the comfort, the joy of being in Alaska and mastering the environment in which you live.
He looks like he hates you right
Not
now. by
being
the
a
way.
slave to your environment, mastering it. That's what humanity, it drives us. We want to master
You'd
our
have to give him
environment.
a Valium first.
Yeah, I couldn't see Dan dressed like a dog
I want
musher
you, I
on
want
the
to
way
see
to
you
his
do
car.
the whole show in that because you will experience an unbelievable joy. Well, actually, you probably would melt if you did the whole show.
We do the show outside.
I just don't want to be in pain. That's all I'm asking. I don't believe that's a big request. I don't think that's extra. I don't think that's being a diva by saying I just want to live somewhere where I'm not in excruciating bunch of like 10,000 knives into my skin kind of pain.
Wear a coat.
Well, good news. We're gonna have they say we're gonna have a mild winter, and it's gonna be cold down south.
Sweet.
Yes.
Cold on the border.
Mild, and then it snows 8 inches the first snow.
That's just wet rain. It's just cold rain.
It was a couple of years ago, or maybe it was 3 years ago. We just got dumped on. I didn't mind that.
I was gone for that winter.
Oh, really? I didn't mind that at all.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Why didn't you like it?
Well, they got to plow my driveway.
Well, you got to have people for that.
Huge driveway, but I mean, you got to wait for it, and then sometimes you got to dig out. And...
Oh, if I had to plow anything, I'd leave. I'd be out of the state.
Yeah.
See, I have to plow.
Yeah. See, I can't plow. I don't know how to plow. Actually, the biggest snowstorm we had in the last 15 years.
It's not fun.
I had my car parked at the international airport. It was March 17th, whatever year, and literally I couldn't find my car, because it was the biggest snowstorm, honestly. And Jackie would be able to back me up on this. It was March 17th, some year, 2002, 3, 4, 1999, something like that. And I'm telling you, I got back from somewhere. I don't know where I was. Somewhere, I guess, internationally. I couldn't. Finally, I'm just like brushing a little bit of snow. Okay, that looks like my car. I didn't know what to do. I had no gloves. I didn't have a coat. I don't own anything that would help me dig. So I had to call my friend Curtis Smith. And he drove down and he literally shoveled me out.
Wow.
He's a great
like a Boy Scout.
Well, he's just a good friend because he knew if I did it, it'd take me about 3 weeks. And he'd have to sit there, and so he helped me, and he got it shoveled out in 25, 30 minutes. But I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And of course, the other great airport story that I have, and I think I've told you guys this one. I get in about 2 a.m. It's 20 below. It was Christmas Eve when I left, and a girl stood me up. This is such a sad story. I was meeting her at what was that restaurant? The underground little downtown across the street from the Captain.
Oh, the Corsair.
Corsair. And I'm sitting there. It's not Christmas Eve. It's like 2 nights before Christmas Eve. And she lived in Homer, but she lived here too. And she said, I said, let's meet there.
Is it Shannon Moore?
Yeah, I was going to say
whatever.
that.
No.
And so she literally stood me up. I couldn't believe it. So I had this really nice cigar that someone had given me for Christmas. And it was still pretty cold. This is before I left. So I thought, I'm going to smoke this thing on the way to the airport. And, of course, to do that, I had to let my sunroof up. I had a BMW with a sunroof. And so I'm sitting there, I'm smoking the cigar and just enjoying the night sky. It was a beautiful night. Well, I left the sunroof open. So I get back 2 weeks later.
What?
My front seat is completely full of snow. I mean, literally nothing but snow. You open the door, pure snow. I have no gloves, no coat.
I would have moved.
Well,
right
I'm doing and it's like 2 a.m. I couldn't call cars. So I'm literally just with my hand. I swear to God, if someone had this on camera, it would go gone viral so quick. I'm literally, and I know people are listening to this saying, I'm never going to listen to Dan Fagan again. He's an idiot. But I'm sorry, this is the way I am. And I'm literally shoveling the snow out of my car with my hand. And then I run back into the airport because I can only take it for about 4 minutes because it's 20 below.
Yeah.
And I have no gloves, no hat, no coat.
Uh-huh.
Then I run back out, shovel a little bit more, run back inside. I did it like 5 times. Finally, of course, the car's running the whole time. It did start once I got into the key. But eventually I just had my side cleared up enough where I could sit. So the right side of the car, completely full of snow. So I can't see a thing. I can't see a damn thing. It's 2 a.m. I'm driving. I lived in Glen Alps. So it's like a 30-minute drive from the airport. And I'm telling you, I'm freezing. It's 20 below. I have to have my window rolled down because I can't see. Next morning, I get up. I get in my car. It's all melted. Thank God. Day or two, because I had a garage. Day or two later,
you didn't clean out the snow. Did you clean out the snow before you?
Car.
I just let it melt. And so 2 days later, I'm like, what is that smell?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No. It's not what you think. This gal who stood me up, I bought her like 3 nice bottles of wine, which I had left in the car, which had cracked. and completely spilled all over the back
Oh,
seat.
so they fermented all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about having an open container.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, I have 3 open containers, but they froze, so I don't think that counts.
Who has that car now?
Actually, I gave it to somebody.
Yeah, I bet.
569-1080. Fagan, Biegel, Bonnie. 8:29. Snowy Monday.
Fagan and 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT. Online at 1020kvnt.com.
This is Charles White with your Matsu Report. The governor met with guardsmen at J-Bear Sunday for a town hall-style meeting on the subject of sexual assault within the National Guard. The governor's office said further details of yesterday's meeting were to be released later today. Both the governor and his challenger Bill Walker are focusing on the state budget the last few weeks before the election. Walker believes Parnell has led the state into financial trouble, while the governor says his opponent's promises to cut the budget are unrealistic. Anchorage police have canceled their alert on a missing 6-year-old boy with autism. They say little Gage McGregor has been found. He's safe and sound this morning. An alleged thief in Juneau experienced some bad timing when he ended up running and while attempting to flee with a 42-inch flat screen TV. They say he had just stolen from a Walmart. 33-year-old Burton Atlas Toulis was arrested, charged with larceny. KVNT, the talk of the valley.
Mostly cloudy skies with a bit of rain. For today, high 41. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, low 28. Sunshine and clouds to 40. Tomorrow night, low 23. Wednesday, sunny skies, high 38. And Thursday, a full day of sun, high 35. If the Valley's talking, you'll hear it here. KVNT Valley News Talk 92.5 FM and 1020 AM.
When you've got the best ingredients, the pizza comes out right. That's just what we're cooking for every appetite. Experience the flavor, call us right away. 24/7, it's a pizza party day.
October is National Pizza Month. Just hearing the word pizza brings a smile to almost everyone's face. And Sicily's Pizza wants to make you smile 5 times as big with their National Pizza Month special. Get as many as 5 medium 2-topping pizzas for only $9.99 each. Whatever style you like. For fast delivery, call 333-8000 and order the Sicily's National Pizza Month special. 333-8000 or order online at sicilyspizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove. No matter how much you need, a quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
If you're ready for the movies, There's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, win stuff. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go. Before and after every show. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
The traffic jam. A stifling halt to your thrilling drive. But in a redesigned 2015 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, that interruption is at least tolerable. With the most luxurious interior in its class and an innovative touchpad, the all-new 2015 C-Class is as exciting to experience standing still as it is in motion. And with its improved acceleration power, your state of comfort continues, knowing you'll make it to your destination on time. To your authorized dealer and see the world differently in a C-Class from Mercedes-Benz. Get the 2015 C300 4MATIC starting at just $40,400. Test drive one today.
MSRP for a 2015 C300 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment. As long as I live.
As long as I live. Several of us were working to rescue a family.
The house collapsed on top of the cellar door and trapped them.
We had to use Humvees and heavy machinery to move massive trees and debris.
We got them out.
We helped a lot of people out.
It felt good to know I could really make a difference.
Because I'm a citizen soldier in the National Guard.
Be there the moment your community needs you. Learn more at nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Alaska National Guard, aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Fagan and Biegel, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
8:36 in the morning. Good morning to you. August. No, it's not August. It's not August at all. It's not even close.
It's the other awe.
It's October.
Oh boy.
20th, Halloween, big holiday coming up. Snowy. It's gonna be a snowy trick or treat. You do the trick or treat thing, you guys, with your kids?
Yeah.
Normally.
I use it as my one opportunity of the year to right all the wrongs for an income distribution in the city of Anchorage.
How so?
Well, I happen to know. Are you with me on this, Brian? You know where I'm going? I think he does.
Candy-wise?
Exactly. See, some neighborhoods have it, how should we say, better than others. And so me and my horde of children will go and descend and essentially loot through candy redistribution the wealth of the city.
So you go to every house in the city?
Well, we go to one place where I know it's just house after house after house after house. They give you fancy stuff.
They spend $1,000
Sometimes
on
they
candy.
give you large candy bars.
Well, once your family hits the house, they're done for the night, right?
Pretty much.
You can't have any candy left.
Yeah, the lights keep going off as we go to house. You know, they take down all their decorations and
before the Beagles get there.
You're like Robin Hood and his merry men, huh? You and the kids. Clean them out.
We do what we can, and it's just our one opportunity to be socialists and just take as much as we can, and load the kids up. Plus, I still have their candy because honestly, it's not good for them to have it.
And see, we go from Halloween to Easter, and then Easter to Halloween. So you go from Halloween to Easter. You got your dessert for every night. That
you make them save the candy that long. Is it good for that long?
Well, for them,
Sugar,
they're lucky to get it.
Do you have any Twinkies? Because I have to keep this until next April. So please, if I could have a Twinkie instead of this candy bar, which won't be good.
No, but you start out by saying, yes, you may have one piece of candy after dinner or 2 pieces of candy, and it lasts all the way to Easter, and then you do Easter, and then
this
they go to
from
Halloween.
A person who essentially eats candy for breakfast every day in their Lucky Charms cereal.
Yeah, I was going to say I eat candy instead of dinner.
That's right. I could eat cereal for dinner, really.
How come I'm the only fat one around here? You guys is eating all this candy and Pop-Tarts and
I
butter.
do want a Pop-Tart.
I only eat 2, like Bonnie said.
Well, something has
portions,
totally
Dan,
changed, by the way, in the way that because you used to have to work hard in order to get any reasonable amount of candy. You have to go out early. You went out at 6:30 at night.
Had to
You
wear a
know, and you
costume.
run. Yeah, you had to wear a
Costume
costume.
under your snowsuit.
You ran from house to house in order to, and you ended up with like 2.5 pounds at the end of the night. You're like, oh yeah, this is a great haul. Now, in 45 minutes, you can end up with 8, 9, 10 pounds of candy.
And next year, just wait for the marijuana candy.
Oh baby.
It's a good thing about looking young. I just shave my goatee and I go out there and
Hold the
trick
bag
or treat
out.
every year.
Trick or treat.
What's this libertarian guy running for Senate? What's his name?
Mark Fish?
I don't know why I have a problem with him. He gets under my skin.
Why?
Well,
he's not going to matter.
Well, no, it's
in
possible.
the election.
I mean, I don't think so. You're right. But all he argues now is for this pot. It's like that's his big thing.
And he never has been, by the way, a big pot guy.
Every post he puts on his Facebook page now is about pot.
But that is opportunistic because Mark Fish never believed in legalized pot. It was never a big issue for him. It never pushed it.
So he's doing it for political gain.
That would be my take on it.
No, it's all about freedom and liberty, don't you know?
Oh, that's right.
Because
That's
everybody
sarcasm.
everybody can be happy and be free and do whatever, even though it leads to anarchy. And there's no repercussions.
Here's what we need to do.
What?
We need to go out.
If you say smoke pot, then I'm going to...
That's what I was going to say. I don't want to smoke it. I know Brian doesn't want to smoke it. And you're already way too smart. If you smoked it, your brain would explode. I think we should go out and get a bunch of pot for Bonnie.
Yeah.
And make her smoke it and then talk to us.
And then interview
on
her.
air really high.
Have her drive us
That might be
around.
kind of fun.
You could be an Uber. Yeah, you could pick us up as an Uber ride.
And then I think it would show what it would do to, someone's mind. Because I would think that she'd probably be, I think
Fun?
she'd be a mess.
She's a mess today. Have you been smoking today?
I am a mess. It must be a Monday.
What's the deal? I don't know. Well,
Please don't repeat that to my children.
I have a feeling. That vote's going to be very close.
Man, I hope not.
Yeah.
I think people are wising up to it. When, like you said, once they get in the booth, they're gonna go, what am I doing? Why are we really
commercializing
talking
marijuana?
About this?
And that's the thing. It's not legalizing. It's commercializing.
It's commercializing.
Well,
There's no question about it. This is not legalizing. It's essentially legal right now. You can also get you can grow it at home.
And
Most people go out and buy it illegally, but almost nobody's in jail for that.
The Alaska Dispatch News, which has really become Alaska's Huffington Post, they are doing these comparisons with the law in Washington when it's apples and oranges. The law that we're about to pass, if we pass it, is much more like the law in Colorado.
Yeah.
Where you just, it's just Katie bar the door.
More, what do they say? It's not even been fully implemented, and there are more pot shops than Starbucks and McDonald's combined.
Yes.
Well, and I did talk to a friend of mine in Washington. We used to live close to each other, and she said, "Oh, Bonnie, you don't want to come back here." She said, "You just to walk through the parking lot in Costco, you have to walk through just clouds of marijuana smoke. People are just doing it."
Listen, I'm telling you firsthand, and I'm not the perfect source, but I'm telling you what was told to me. In Redding, California, when I was doing a talk show there as little as 5 months ago, the people there said, "Dan, you would have not recognized this place before all this marijuana grow stuff." They said you just would not recognize it. It was a nice, beautiful community, rolling hills. Now it is a bastion of homeless and transient and pot plants everywhere.
Well, and she was pregnant. Well, she was just recently pregnant. So think about that and the second hand. And she said there's dispensaries everywhere up and down the main road. And
one woman who I had on my show, she had this nice little boutique. She had been there for 20 years. Very nice little boutique. Didn't make a ton of money, but it was, people loved it. She was the mainstay there. A dispensary opened up next door. People wouldn't touch her boutique because there was always 20, 25 people, stoners, most in their 20s, waiting to get their pot, and they'd smoke it right there in the parking lot.
Oregon's thinking of doing something with marijuana. I think the first lady there, to contrast with our first lady here, who was on the program on Friday, she has got to buy property in order to grow marijuana. The first lady of Oregon, that was her plan.
I was in Oregon
classy.
when I drove up here, and I stopped at a little convenience store to get some beverages, and they didn't have paper bags.
Right.
Oh, we haven't had paper bags in a long time here.
Plastic, you mean?
And plastic, sorry, yeah.
They didn't have plastic bags? They had
plastic.
paper bags.
Yeah, plastic was illegal.
Oh.
But you'd be able to get pot there, but not
They
not
did that
plastic.
in Bellingham, and they'd say, "Well, do you want to buy a plastic bag?" And I said, "No, just stick it back in the cart. I'll take it to my car."
That would be very interesting to find out who would win out if marijuana was an actual tree rather than a plant.
Mm.
Would the environmentalists or the pot smokers, how would that battle
Can't
go?
cut down trees, Glenn.
You hug it or you smoke it.
No, you don't touch a tree. You
I
don't
do
touch a
think
tree.
I don't know who would win. I honestly don't. I don't know how that would turn out.
You'd want to plant a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, but you couldn't harvest them because then you'd be killing off the snowy owl. What was the thing that they wanted to? We were killing off was
spotted owl.
Spotted owl.
But that's where I was living, and the timber industry was devastated because of spotted owl. But the left, you can smoke 100 joints, but don't you dare touch a cigarette.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you dare touch a cigarette.
It makes perfect sense.
Yep.
When you're high.
569-1080. Glen Biegel, Dan Fagan, Bonnie Cameron. 8:44 is the time.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, and online at 1020kvnt.com.
You know what I didn't learn in law school? How much time is spent on documents, preparing them, revising them, and scanning and routing them, and if all goes well, having my clients sign them.
With intelligent printers and MFPs, customized apps and services, Kyocera Document Solutions helps you capture, distribute, and manage the many documents that matter.
Legal Documents 101. Now that ought to be a course.
If the document is important, the company is important.
Royal Business Systems has been a leading provider of high-quality business technology and services since 1990. Royal Business Systems provides HP, Okidata, and Kyocera printers and MFPs, and support recognized throughout the industry as best in class. Come to Royal Business Systems for the total document solution you need to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Don't call 1-800-WHO-CARES. Call Royal Business Systems at 563-4118. That's 563-4118. Or visit us at akcopy.net.
In Washington, Mark Begich has voted with Barack Obama 97% of the time, adding trillions to the national debt, casting the deciding vote for Obamacare, and protecting Obama's executive amnesty for illegal immigrants. Alaska needs a senator who will fight back against Obama's agenda. As our Attorney General, Dan Sullivan sued to stop Obamacare and defended our Second Amendment rights. As Alaska's DNR Commissioner, Sullivan stood down Obama's EPA, unleashed new energy production, and created Alaskan jobs. Now Sullivan is running for the U.S. Senate to stop the Washington big spenders from bankrupting America. Sullivan will cut wasteful spending and support a balanced budget amendment. And Dan Sullivan is pro-life. He'll protect life while fighting to repeal Obamacare. Dan Sullivan, strong leadership for Alaska.
I'm Dan Sullivan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Sullivan for U.S. Senate.
At Amana, the Million Air heat exchanger found in all our gas furnaces is living up to its name and then some. The Million Air recently surpassed the 2 million cycle mark in our test facility, and it's still going strong. In fact, we're so confident in its reliability, Amana offers a lifetime unit replacement limited warranty to the original registered homeowner if the heat exchanger ever fails for as long as they own the home. For information on the Million Air warranty, contact Connect Heating LLC, your authorized Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts. Your local Amana experts are Connect Heating LLC. Stay warm, shop smart, shop local. Choose the Amana experts right here in the Mat-Su. Look at the mountaintops. We know what's coming. The time to plan for your warm and comfortable winter is now. Visit connectheating.com. That's connectheating.com.
I've always thought this song would be perfect for a funeral home commercial, especially since many have told me over the years that we're the best funeral homes in Alaska. Hi, folks. I'm Scott Jansen, owner of Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home, and Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center. I'm also a two-time Iditarod finisher, known these days as the Mushin Mortician. At our funeral homes, we offer many options. We believe everyone deserves some sort of recognition after death, a tribute to a life lived. If you need to arrange a funeral but feel you can't afford to, let us know. We will help you arrange a meaningful ceremony to commemorate the life of your loved one. Atmosphere where friends and family can gather together. Choose a locally owned Jansen Funeral Home, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home, or Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, where, just like family, we're there when you need us.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk.
I'm watching the video feed here, and I'm seeing Bonnie just stuff her face, and I'm thinking, my goodness, we're about to go on, and I realize there's what's the delay here, Brian?
On the video, I think it's probably about 15, 20 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
I moved away from the video so
I know.
that
I flipped it, and I saw Bonnie like mowing on some food, and I clicked it back really quick.
And yet you're so small. You come in here and eat candy and sugar every day, and you weigh, what do you weigh, like 75 pounds?
No, according to Glenn, I'm not thin.
Oh, my, you didn't say that.
He had said it a few times.
You said she wasn't thin?
Yeah, thin is a bad word.
No,
not for word.
Women.
I'm healthy? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's right, yes.
You
Pleasantly plump.
You said she's not
Oh,
thin?
my
my
word.
Lord. Brian.
I just made that
Brian.
up. That's being ironic.
All right.
Man
That's
alive. I am
No.
done.
Well,
women do not want to be thin anymore. Am I wrong on that?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, you are.
I've never really.
Now, Brian, you realize that she's going to bring that up 15 to 20 times in the next 10
Did you say
years.
pleasantly
It
plump?
was a hilarious joke, wasn't it?
So is the slashing of your tires.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, she knows what I drive.
That's true.
If I may change the subject to a more positive thing.
Yes.
Which
Please
is
do.
the success of Earhart Roofing and Frank and Becky Earhart and their son James. This is the American dream come true. This is a family that decided they're going to start their own business, start from scratch. They started 42 years ago. And look what's happened. 17 trucks, 60 employees, the premier roofing company in all of Alaska. They're always the lowest bidder. They will give you a 50-year warranty on the work they do for you. Whether it's industrial, commercial, residential, they're the best. Better Business of the Year, Better Business Bureau Business of the Year. They can install a roof on your home in less than 2 days. Earhart Roofing, give them a call, 345-5555, 345-5555. Our number here, 569-1080. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to get ugly, but it seems to me, Glenn and Bonnie, that Mr. Walker's opinions are for sale. All of a sudden now he's anti-Pebble. He was pro-Pebble before.
Whoever pays him the most, that's what he's willing
Is
to
that
do.
too harsh?
No.
For sale? Let me think. Well, they're up for
Political expediency.
Okay, yeah, they're up for political bid.
Yeah.
And
It's not that he's going to go take money and buy a house in Hollywood or anything.
No, but whoever is supporting him, that's who he changes to. He changes with the wind.
Well,
Whoever is supporting him, that's who he goes with.
I think he's probably realized that to be on the Democratic ticket and to be for Pebble, which I would say, 97% of Democrats are opposed to, it's just, he can't. It'd be like running in the Republican primary and being pro-choice, right? You got to switch your position on it. But it's so, there's so many shifts now.
Yeah. Well, he can't. The problem for Walker is he can't come out and say, I am for the development of Alaska and for jobs, and I think, and mining is frankly a great employer. He can't come out and say those things and run on a Democratic ticket that's trying to scare everybody at the same time, because the real heavyweight here is not Malat, it's Begich. And Begich has come out and said, I am anti-mining. I am not going to allow a mine, the largest undiscovered deposit in the world. I'm not going to allow that to be developed because I'm afraid of fishing. So of it affecting fishing. And so you can't have people making arguments on opposite sides when they're supposed to be on the same team.
I was talking to my good friend Amanda Coyne yesterday, and she said, who you pulling for? And I thought about it. I said, well, I think clearly it would be best for the state that Governor Parnell is reelected. But because I believe that Bill Walker is going to have to pull off the impossible, and that the Alaska Dispatch is going to give him a pass, I think it's probably best for my talk show that Walker gets elected, because Glenn and I and Rick Rydell and Steer, and we're going to be the only ones holding him accountable while he does his two-step, trying to be all things to all people. So it's good for the state, I think, if Parnell wins. But it's probably good for talk radio, conservative talk radio, because the Dispatch, they're all behind the Unity ticket. Alice Rogoff was in on at least one of the meetings in which the Unity ticket was formed. So,
and you just reported that today.
Yep. Yeah, we confirmed two.
So
people.
Rogoff was actually in the meeting. They're trying to figure out whether or not
Two different
they can bring
sources.
completely different worldviews, totally different thoughts on marriage, life, Pebble, fishing, equal rights for Alaskans. Totally different thoughts on all of these things, Walker and Malott, and she was in on it. I wonder if she knows, by the way, what Democrats were offered in order to come onto this ticket.
Well, she was in on the meeting, at least one of them.
Well, then she should know. I mean, if she was there at the meeting and we have people reporting that she was, because that's the big question. The big question, what will get Walker either elected or not elected, is whether or not he can keep silent from now until the election. What were Democrats promised? Was it places on the Supreme Court? Was it heads of departments? Exactly what is it that Democrats gave up in order to allow Walker, who didn't agree with them on hardly anything, to be on this ticket? That's critical.
Parnell would be smart to put out a commercial that says just that, too. You know, what was the other side promised? Because I know a lot of conservative people who are voting for Walker.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and if they had one piece of information that was solid, backed up, that we knew for a fact, if there was just one piece of information, this whole thing would fall apart. I promise you, and that is why Walker cannot let out of the bag what was promised, who got it, who was it promised to, exactly what is the cost for bringing the Walker and the Democrat ticket together.
I mean, he's got the yes on one for the oil tax people. He's got the conservatives. He's going to have the Democrats who don't, they'll hold their nose and vote for him.
Some will, some won't. I get the sense Amanda Coyne is having a little bit of difficulty with this ticket because her side of the Democratic Party essentially got said,
she'll do it.
Get out.
She'll do it.
You think she'll vote? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because where's she going to go?
Right. They don't want Parnell to be in there so bad.
Yeah.
It's just like us with Mark Begich and Dan Sullivan.
Well,
it's
here's
just
what I
the
don't
opposite.
understand. Look, I've got serious disagreements with Mark Begich. They start with him spending $7 trillion of my kids' money. So it's not like I'm uninformed as to why I don't like Mark Begich. Here's what I don't get is I don't understand why the unions don't like our current mayor. And I don't understand why the left, I want them to be honest with me and try and figure out what is it. Because I keep asking people, what don't you like about Sean Parnell? What exactly is it? And I'll get platitudes. Oh, well, he didn't have discussions and he didn't have talks. Really? That's where we are. We didn't have talks. It's like he told you just to go away. When Fleener and Terrence Shenigan were on Friday, and these are both, of course, Walker supporters, I keep trying to drag out of people exactly what is it that they want to talk about, what is it that we want to discuss, because to me, that's a talking point. It's not really a position, and so I don't really understand it.
Don't you think unions are just trained to always go against the Republican?
Yeah, I think the unions have a side.
Well, here's my thought, Glenn. Sheila Toomey, who was a hardcore leftist, and I thought really represented the left, their heart and what they were all about here in Alaska. And she used to call Sean Parnell Governor God, mocking his faith.
Oh.
So that right there, that's the reason the hard left hates him, because he's open about being a man of God or being a faith person. Just like that's why they hate George Bush. And the fact that he's pro-life.
And you can never buy into environmentalism if you really do have faith in God. And that's one of the difficulties I think most people on the left have is, look, the world's coming to an end. It's coming to an end our way, which is through global warming, and you have to do something about it.
Yeah. So you got the leftists, and combined with some of the unions. It's a pretty good group. And then you get full a few conservatives, 3-5% of the conservatives who hate oil industry. There's your ticket.
It's going to be a tough one to beat.
Folks, we're going to have a slippery drive home today. If you're already at work, good for you, but be careful out there. It is snowing. 8:58, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.